Hello. Hello, people. It's Tabletop Talk time. And as usual, I'm here with Drake and Emery. And what we are discussing is on screen, kinda. I zoomed down too much. There we go. Yeah, Drake, you were the one to decide on this one, so I would like you to take helm a bit more today.
Absolutely, I can do that. I'll probably ramble more than usual because I'm a bit under the weather, but that's fine.
Oh, I think that will only make it better. I will do a second of tweets about this stuff, about us being live and all that shit. So please feel free to start.
Yeah. So this is a Song of Ice and Fire tabletop game for Game of Thrones, basically. I don't remember the exact time when it was written. I think it was like during the second or third season of the show. They were like, hey, we need this. So it wound up happening. And Green Ronin got the license to it around that time. And I think the license only lasted 10 years. Yeah, it was during the show.
How long did that show run? I can't even remember.
8 years? 9 years?
Yeah, they had to skip a year.
Alpha, hi. Welcome.
So,
hello.
I think it was either the second or third. Anyway, this is technically the second edition of the book. The first edition is a little more chaotic and confusing. I wanted to use this, the second edition of it because, I don't know, they had a little more money for art. Yeah, depicted on the cover is an actual scene from the history of the series of Robert Baratheon fighting one of the Targaryens in the Riverlands.
That's what made him king, right? Basically.
That's basically what made him king. And it's been a while since I've read all the books or watched any of the stuff, so remembering all the names, I couldn't be arsed to. So
that's fine. By the way, Alpha, you are cute, extremely cute. And Motherma, welcome. Pi, also welcome. Hi.
Indeed, hello.
Oh yeah, it's definitely a thing. Like so much of a thing that they had 2 editions of it, and they wrote, I think, 5 different expansion books. They had one mega adventure that they wrote for it. They couldn't call it Dragon Heist, so they called it Dragon something. I don't remember what it was called.
Dragon.
You know, the Targaryens kind of got drip though.
Yeah, this. I mean, the horns, big horns on your helm, extremely stupid. You're gonna get your weapon tangled.
Oh, yeah.
And then you're gonna, I don't know, break your own neck with your warhammer because you twisted it too much. But this is cool. This is hella cool. This reminds me of Dark Elves from Warhammer.
Yeah.
Fabulous.
Oh yeah.
Slim wings are fine.
Yeah.
If you are against ornamentation on armor completely, well, I just gotta say you're boring.
Yeah, indeed. Get a bit
All you have to do to compensate for spikes on your armor is just be really, really good.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, spike. I mean, the spike thing is kind of, you won't hurt yourself, but it's not going to do much. But it looks cool, so why not? Having a little dragon. Cool. I mean, it's not even. It's basically here's the dragon, right? Here's the other dragon, and each has a wing. So why not? Maybe there's a 2-headed dragon in the lore. I don't know, but looks cool. Yeah. I mean, he has a 3-headed dragon for banner. So this is basically dressing down.
He's got King Ghidorah.
Oh wait! It could be the third thing. Could be this year. So it could be a 3-headed dragon. That's cool.
That would be cool. Yeah.
Yeah, again, that's cool. But again, big horns not cool. It's dumb. This thing is good because this is the neck protector. You want that?
Mhm.
But
the stag helmet would be worn like for a ceremony, not
exactly.
fucking battle.
And you put those, if you want antlers, put them on a crown and wear that. I don't know, around the house or something. Remember to walk.
The smartest idea would be a king's helmet, where they would have just the helmet with the additional crown that you would slot over top
Yes,
of it.
exactly. Yeah.
Modular design.
Imagine these have screws on the end. You can screw them into his helmet. That would be great. The show would have been better for a moment like that. But yeah, I mean, the art. This art. If the only thing I have to complain about is the endless. This is really good art. Yeah. This is really well done. This is like wow. I think that might be the best piece of art we've had so far on the show.
Oh yeah.
Besides all those characters from the Star Trek thing.
Oh yeah.
I think I don't know. I think the sheer amount of like this cover art's definitely the best singular piece, but I think in terms of artistic quality, like overall, I don't know. I'm still really partial to the Fallout TD20.
Yeah. Okay. Again,
but again, that's also not made for that book. It was concept art. It was designed for in 76.
Yeah, so, and my visceral hatred for taints everything to do with that. Oh, gays, by the way. Yeah, these are Drake. The doggo is Drake, and the elf is Archwith Emery. And as usual, on every second Saturday, we are discussing RPGs. Okay, so let's...
I have to get my bias out of the way really quick. Hi, I'm a longtime fantasy fan and a fantasy author. I absolutely fucking despise George R.R. Martin's work, even though I think he's a perfectly pleasant gentleman.
Okay.
He's also an incredibly poor public speaker.
So if you were here for me hating on Fallout 4 in a irrational
it's literally
manner,
just reversed.
It's now Emery's turn to do that for this book, which is fine.
Take the reverse card.
It's just
also,
fine.
as I have been saying for many weeks, I am a big fan. It's actually my favorite singular D&D setting. Birthright is literally just Game of Thrones, but it was published way before Thrones was even like a glimmer in Martin's eye. And it is the exact same idea.
Yeah.
It is all about noble houses. They just happen to have like, I mean, Birthright was back in 2E, but like it started what feats became in like 3.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, being part of a noble house gave you a big
gays, I will say this very simply. The next book is never coming out. There is no chance at this point.
Yeah. It's just not going to happen. Like, I listen to experts on the topic talk about it, and they're tired of talking about it. Completely tired of talking about it.
They're exhausted.
It's just not going to happen.
It's for me.
It's Birthright. Birthright's better because it's a D&D setting, and it doesn't fucking pretend that it's an amazing piece of deconstruction and stuff, fantasy literature.
Yeah, I said this on Discord just earlier. For me, Song of Ice and Fire, the books specifically, are fine. The show started good, got progressively worse. I gave up on it factually by season 6 and watched season 5 with kind of a, oh god, what's going on? Kind of feeling.
Spinoff and Weiss are not only bad showrunners, but they're also bad show writers.
Yes.
Yes.
And
they're great adaptationalists, though.
Yeah, they can do things, but they should never be in charge of running a show like that again, because they really did run it into the ground. If randos on the internet can in 5 minutes write a better plot than you, then maybe you shouldn't write. Mm-hmm. And I've literally just seen Reddit posts where people had 100 words to write a better story, and they did it, and it was easy. Yeah. And sorry, but what the fuck? How do you pay them millions? But we are not here to talk about the show too much. I just want to finish my thoughts there. So book is fine. Show was started, I think, actually very good for TV. And then got just worse. That's my personal read on it. And
Gaze, I forgot about that quote. What was that? It was Benoff, right? It was Benoff that did that one.
I'm
when
pretty sure it was
when I
Bunny Hop,
heard
yeah.
that, I went
What?
fucking nuclear. That interview came out while I was in a literature course. I was TAing a literature course,
Wait.
and it like you could hear the ping from like different literary journals that were covering that shit. You could just hear like every student in class like bring 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 bring, and like 3 people checked it, and I remember I checked my phone, and we quit the entire class lecture that day just to talk about how fucking stupid that take was.
Oh man, imagine being that shit at writing and thinking your farts don't stink. Yeah, amazing. Those guys deserve never to work again, in my opinion. Don't care if they are good at something else.
Yeah.
I don't care. They that should be such a stain on them, because no one can defend season 8. No one.
Nobody can. Absolutely nobody.
And how unanimous it was, how just how much it was panned. But let me finish my thought, please.
Please.
If you think A Song of Ice and Fire is the best books ever and they are without flaw and so on and so on and so on and so on, you are wrong. And your only comparison is probably Harry Potter. And I will say it's better than Harry Potter, because Harry Potter is also overrated crap. But please read other books. Please, there's many books that are better. Yes.
I'm gonna keep banging on like a left college student saying read Marx. Read Moorcock. Fucking read Moorcock. Everyone who can hear my voice, go read the Eternal Champion series. It's so good, and they are so short. There's no wasted time. There's no wasted pages. Every single word. It's perfect.
And if you don't like Moorcock, like me personally, I happen to not really enjoy Moorcock. I can't even tell you why, but I don't really enjoy it. It has been years to it. I might enjoy it more now. I might give it another try. But if you Google the word author, you will find there's many of them, and there's going to be stuff out there that people really like, and that they have so many people have written so many books. It's amazing. And you might even start with some classics, and I don't know, like maybe Lord of the Rings is pretty cool if you actually read it, not just watch the movies and so on. I'm not saying the audience is that, but you know.
Also, Alpha, how do you read Conk? You polish it off.
Yeah, you polish it off. Yeah, it's not too.
Oh yeah.
It might
Lord
look.
of the Rings is a fantastic book series. And
Yeah.
all of the other stuff that surrounds it is pretty cool. You know.
Yeah, hot take from me. I like The Hobbit more than Lord of the Rings. Hobbit is more fun.
I like the Silmarillion.
I like the Silmarillion too, for world building stuff, and just for the sheer lore effect. For the sheer, this is actually just basically a Bible written for another world. It's really awesome for that.
Gaze, you're right. Neil Gaiman is fantastic, but there's a reason that Neil Gaiman is so good. It's because the guy has a great understanding of the literature that came before him and actively works to analyze what works and what doesn't. He makes good deconstructionist content. If what you think is good deconstruction is Game of Thrones or, you know, a certain film of Rian Johnson's, then go actually take a literature course and read Neil Gaiman. Because you'll actually learn what deconstruction means and what you need to apply to it.
It can even
really good at that.
listen. I never took literature course, and I can still tell you it's not great. Also, if you think, oh, I've based my book loosely on a real war, which is the War of the Roses, and that gives it some sort of cred, fuck off.
Yeah,
fuck off.
If you read about the War of the Roses in just
it's consequential and unnecessary conflict.
Yes, it's. I mean, to be fair, the point of A Song of Ice and Fire is that it's kind of unnecessary that they are fighting, and it's kind of stupid. But it doesn't make it deep. It does make it. It just means you didn't even come up with the plot, really, did you? Somehow makes it worse if you base it like that. But okay, let that be enough about the actual books for now. We will get back to this, no doubt. We will not be able to contain ourselves. But
system, though.
Yeah.
What's our initial impression of it?
Let me quickly say there's a 25-page introduction to what is Westeros. We are not going to read. We're just going to gloss it. We don't care. We know. We all know. Let's go directly to game rules. This is fine. I skimmed it. This is like, oh yeah, if you somehow haven't seen the show and have no clue at all, Like, that's the minimum. Like, you don't have to read the books. If you haven't even seen season 1, read this and you will be okay in this book, because surprise, surprise, it's not that complex.
It really isn't, no. It's probably one of the more uncomplex settings, and that's why
Yeah.
it was so accessible for a lot of people.
Exactly.
For like forum roleplay in Second Life, roleplay in other avenues.
Mhm.
It's simple. It's simple.
Yeah.
Stupidly simple.
Yes, and now we go directly to the game rules. Click. So
Rules.
I can explain the basics and then Trey can take over. So how it works,
Absolutely.
your character has a number of d6s. The number depending obviously on how good they are at stuff. And you roll those against the target number. Target number is set by how hard something is. For example, I don't know, climbing a wall is harder than climbing a tree. So climbing the wall is, I don't know, 12, while the tree is 9 or whatever. And then you just roll your dice. And then you have the chance to have bonus dice, which it's just a bit of a weird naming, but what it means is you basically roll more dice and only count the best ones.
Yep.
And that's it. So if you, for example, if your target number is 9, you have 4 dice and 2 of them are bonus dice, you roll 4 dice and take the 2 best. So if you roll 5, 5, 2, 2, you take 10. And that's the system. We are done with explaining basics.
It's super straightforward, yeah.
Yeah.
And it winds up being really smooth in play, too. The only people that hold it up are people that can't add. And that's it.
Oh yeah, that by the way, I have one player who is amazing at that, who is like, oh, these are 3 dice in front of me, there's a 4, 3 and a 6, and then 30 seconds later someone else will tell him what you rolled. That person is a programmer. They do programming for a living. They just can't add in their head. It's amazing.
Oh, God.
And they are not a shit programmer, by the way. They are literally very good at their job. But that's just, you get those people.
It'd be like that sometimes, you know?
Yeah.
It does.
I feel for them.
I feel for them.
Yeah, logic, math has nothing, I mean, addition has nothing to do with logic. That's the thing. It's just literally counting on your imaginary fingers in your brain. But anyway,
Yeah.
Yeah, Trey, take over. Take the wheel.
Yeah. Absolutely. So yeah, it's pretty straightforward. You do that. Difficulties are multiples of 3. You know, like a routine challenge would be a 6. You got to be a 6, which is pretty easy to do. Something hard would be a 15. Something heroic would be 21 plus. You need to usually at least a minimum rank of 4 in order to do that. You know, it's really straightforward.
Mhm.
And then if you beat the difficulty by a certain amount, it's referred to as a degree of success. Usually, if you beat it by multiples of 5, it's an additional success. It's really straightforward. Building characters is really simple too. Like they start out with a bunch of sample characters, and I can't remember if the math they did for them is correct, because that was something that plagued Shadowrun repeatedly. Was okay, here's the sample characters, and none of them added up correctly. But
Yes.
pretty sure these add up correctly.
Yes.
And it's definitely a system where if you play a noble who's got a really high status and is decent at talking to people, they're going to be shit at everything else. That's how the system works out.
Actually the one little issue that I have with this game, and I stated it before on Discord before we hopped on the call, that does track for Thrones, but for a series that is so bang on about, oh, we're based on a real war and real political intrigue and real socioeconomic statuses of Europe during, you know, the 13th century. Like, for some reason, Martin doesn't think that nobles are like incredibly well trained and well educated people. Like, they are literally the most educated people on the planet.
Back in those times, yeah.
With specialized skill sets that are done through tutors, like constant tutorship for like 10 years, 10 to 15 years.
It depends a little bit upon what times we are talking, but the idea that kings couldn't read, that's literally early Middle Ages, if that. Very quickly the
people can't read, like the general illiteracy issue,
Mhm.
is almost a complete fabrication of the Renaissance era.
True.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it is almost complete fabrication. Standardized
Mhm.
writing systems and literacy has been a thing since the Roman Empire, and most of the European what would it be, zeitgeist of the time was directly descended from Roman connection.
Yeah.
Like people could read. People were not
Exactly.
just shitting in their
Yeah.
yard or
I mean,
throwing it onto their streets,
yeah,
you know?
agreed. It's not like today where everyone had access to books and stuff.
No.
Because books back then, that was the expensive and problematic thing. I mean, not problematic, but just hard to get. A library would be like, yeah, we have 12 whole books. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah,
Because-
we managed to collect 12 to 20 books. Look at that shit. It's
Oh, yeah.
incredibly impressive.
And if you collected that many books, you're either a monk or noble usually. So,
Yeah.
you know,
But
Yeah.
yeah, the idea that like, why did we have road signs for, you know, for eons? Because
Mhm.
people could fucking read.
Yeah, it's like it's the difference between reading a novel and reading the street name. You can read the street name pretty easily, even if it's a child. When you couldn't really read the Silmarillion yet, but you can read kinda okay enough to get by.
Mm-hmm.
oh,
But
yeah,
it-
that's
But-
another good point. Designer
So again,
days, like
Yeah, gaze for sure. It was very common to be able to read. It actually fell off more in early industrialization times, when all the
Mhm.
peasants came to the city, and then everyone worked for 12 hours, including the children. They didn't learn to read, because when did they have time to do so?
And you never had to for industrial work in the time.
Yeah.
You had to
Exactly.
effectively just be like, you know, a piston.
Yeah, a
human
bit of,
piston.
yeah, right, a bit of a machine. Yeah.
a cog.
But yeah, so again, like the entire thing that this setting is built off of is the Renaissance creating the Dark Ages whole cloth to prove
Mhm.
that they are more intelligent and so much more enlightened.
Yeah.
So that's another thing where it's like you're making the setting with a bent towards quote unquote accuracy,
Mm-hmm.
but you're completely basing it off of hearsay
Yes.
and nonsense.
Yes,
So
I will agree with
I
that
digress.
100%. The idea, there's a little, I mean, not a little, there's a lot of trad people out there saying, oh, Roman Empire, that was the height of civilization and stuff. No.
I mean, civilization is just like a fucking roller coaster. It goes up and down all the time.
It's not even
It
the
never
thing.
stops.
It's not even the idea that up and down. That the idea that somehow Europe then regressed for 1,000 years and they had made nothing. They made huge inventions. The fact that they forgot a few things doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah.
While the only way to preserve knowledge is kind of books and so on, and books they have to copy by hand. Yeah, things are going to get lost, especially things like the idea, they have had concrete. Wow, awesome. Yeah, they found that by sheer accident, by luck, because they had the volcano over there or something. And you couldn't even have replicated that stuff everywhere if you wanted to.
No,
And that we don't know doesn't fucking matter. They found other ways, and that. Yeah, sure, they had to mend the bridges for 1,000 years, but they could, because they just keep standing, because an arch bridge keeps standing forever, as long as it is built right, and so on.
Long story short, all of history is basically okay,
Yeah.
and all of the incredibly, incredibly negative nonsense about that period, pre-18th century, is almost exclusively made by people who lived in the more quote-unquote forward progressive times, going, well, we're so much better than those guys. Yep. 100%. Gaze, you're right.
Agreed. And
right,
which is super funny to me, because exactly. The Romans, they are those weird Italians and Greeks. Yeah, Greeks, those are hardly white for those people these days. And oh god, don't get me started.
We could do an entire political stream about talking about the adoration of like the Roman Empire and how they were pretty good, but
it's really it's really funny to hear Molyneux speak on it. I don't know if you know Peter Molyneux at all, and hearing that guy, then it all fell apart, and you're like, dude, you're talking about events like literally 500 years apart.
Yeah,
and you're just relying on the idea that your audience doesn't fucking know what you're talking about. and
There's also a
it's
really cool inconsistency with people who venerate the
stupid.
Holy Roman Empire and the Roman Empire and like
Mhm.
Christianity as a whole, where like
Mhm.
Rome began its descent due to the induction of Christianity as a state mandated religion.
Yeah, it's. I mean, it's never just one thing, but you're right. That's definitely part of it. Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely contributes, especially when you have like a multicultural and multinational state.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Forcing people to act as one thing kind of doesn't work.
Yeah, right.
But anyway.
It's weird. Religion. If someone has that and you take it away, they don't like that. Yeah, it's strange. Okay.
Anyways, let's get back on
Yeah, let's try for 5 minutes to stay on roleplay.
Game of Thrones. Meanwhile, Roman history.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's not correct. Yeah, Islamic Golden Age. What's that? Yeah.
What's that?
Shouldn't have pissed off those Mongols. That's all I'm gonna say about that.
That's like half of human history. We shouldn't have pissed off those Mongols.
Yeah, a lot of empires ended in like 10, 20, 30 years because of that. Yeah, because they were all like, oh, those steppe people, they can't be that bad. What the fuck is happening? Oh yeah, we all getting shot at the same time.
Why are they redirecting our rivers? Help!
Yeah. Oh man.
Where's the city?
Okay. No, we have to focus. We have to focus. Oh, I love this.
Perfect so far.
Yeah, guys, that's fine. We are just scrolling through a book slowly and talking. This is a podcast.
Very slowly. So yeah, sample archetypes. They do the standard things like anointed knight, anointed by the seven. Hedge knight, you're just a random dude.
Let me tell one thing. What I like about this game, in conflict tests, like for example, I try to convince the barman that I shouldn't pay for this drink. I as the aggressor or the active party roll the check, and the difficulty is based on how good the other party is at resisting. So if that barman is very willful, then it's harder for me to do this. But it's a passive roll. It's not, they don't roll willpower. They just have a target number for you. Which is, I think, their whatever attribute applies ×4 or something.
It's intrigue defense, yeah.
Yeah, it depends what you're, in this case, intrigue defense, but it depends on what you are doing. In combat, it's also still just a number you have. You don't roll parry or stuff. This is very good because it makes the game fast. This is this is doing D&D attacks for everything, which is good, in my opinion.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I don't think there's much in the way of opposed rolls anywhere in this book. I don't think so. I don't remember.
Yeah.
I just don't remember doing opposed rolls.
I think there is one instance where if you do agility dodge.
Oh yeah.
Then
that's you deciding to do something.
And just you not doing an attack that turn, but just rolling out of the way, and then you get your active roll. And it could be worse than what you would get passively. Also, Sandad, it's definitely a pro gamer move, pissing off the Mongols. Yeah, definitely. But enough of that, please. Okay, so we have a quick glossary here of terms. This is basically fine. And then we have archetypes.
Yep.
And
archetypes.
What are those?
They cover the classic things that you would expect,
Mm-hmm.
like anointed knight. They're anointed by the seven, which is the dominant religious force. Heir, meaning you're the heir to a noble house.
Mm-hmm.
Godsworn, basically you're religious. Hedge knight, well, you're just a warrior for hire. Maester, which
I must interject. I love this picture of the hedge knight, which is this is basically a dude who accosts you in the woods for your money. This does not look like anything but a bandit, and I love it.
As I've been looking at this art, the shields are fucking obscenely huge.
Yeah, I think
they are so big.
Yeah,
Like, look at that. That shield should be like half the size.
Yeah, I think they are mostly too wide, aren't they?
They're length? Not only too wide, they're also incredibly tall.
Yeah,
it is mainly the width, but it looks like somebody took a real shield design and just like stretch and squashed it.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
It does.
They're just too big.
At least, I mean, at least they hired one guy to do all of these pictures. At least it's
Yeah,
consistent.
instead of like
Yeah.
15 people.
Yeah.
It happens.
Very consistent with their art direction. So yeah, they have a bunch of examples here, and all of these examples kind of show off the range of things. Like depending on how old you want to make your character, determines how many points to spend to raise your abilities. So like the youngest character here, I think, is a squire. Squire is a fine example of somebody who's not really good at very much because they're young.
Yeah. Oh, they are.
Whereas I think the oldest character is the maester.
Yeah, they are kind of okay at combat, but not as good as some other characters, and the rest stuff is
Scout, I think,
middling.
The hedge knight and the scout.
Does it tell us the age of these people in the thing? Does it tell us the age?
Does. It's right before like their.
I
It
must
does
be
right
blind.
before their tag, like so, like
It's
noble,
right
young
underneath
adult,
the name.
schemer.
Oh, adult expert, so he just looks old. He's basically just adult. Middle aged,
yeah.
so young
The
adults.
hedge knight and the
Oh,
scout.
what? This guy is younger than this guy. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. So who's the
Learn to
oldest
make
here? Young
skin cream, dude.
adults,
Jeez.
adults, middle aged. Middle aged is, yeah, okay. Adolescent.
Straight
Adolescent.
So yeah,
fucking
middle
Chad
aged
hedge
being the
knight
oldest.
is the
Yeah.
virgin maester.
I do enjoy that this hedge knight is
Yeah, I
way
love him.
better.
He's probably my favorite piece. So
way
far.
better at fighting than the anointed knight, because this guy, yeah, while he was reading about religion, this guy was studying the blade and how to hide in the bushes to ambush you.
Exactly.
Well, you were studying the religious texts. I studied shitting in the woods.
Yes. He has a full 3 more combat defense than the anointed knight, so there must be something to that.
Yeah.
That's the lifestyle of what's that? What's the guy called from Japan? Not Hayabusa. Fuck.
Wait. Hold on.
Miyamoto Musashi. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Was also just a guy living in the woods, hitting people over the head with a stick and winning every fight.
That was actually 100% my favorite Legend of Musashi. Where he like takes a fucking boat to an island to go on a duel. He carves an oar on the way there and kills the guy.
Yes. This is. You know what this thing is? It's longer than your katana. Bonk.
You bonk a guy really hard. Fucking kill him.
Yes.
Good.
Anyways, this art design is all really good. I
Yeah.
think this is pretty good.
This is very.
Yeah.
Everyone wears leather kind of thing, but it's defensible.
Yeah.
It's what you expect, is what I would say. Like
Yeah.
this armor. This is not armor. This is not. No one ever made. No.
Yeah.
Yeah, ringmail
It
is
isn't.
absolute nonsense.
Yeah, these need to overlap and then be sewn onto a thing, and then it's not called that. So this is bullshit.
I like how the squire is actually wearing like a decent, brigandine. Like, he's got a full
further
jerkin.
down. He's further down.
He's got
yeah.
a full leather jerkin on
Yeah.
and then brigandine and those surcoat over it. He looks pretty good.
Yeah, he looks fine. I think Scout looks fine as well. He would be wearing leather or something to run around the woods. Wouldn't be plate.
Yeah, but
would
let's be
very too
real.
loud.
The hedge knight's the best.
Yeah, Shred is by far. Yeah,
He's got the best gear.
yeah.
He knows it.
I mean, yeah, he has chain. He's not the anointed knight has better gear. I guess he's some plate stuff. But this guy,
I actually really like the air.
wait, he's also young. This is also younger than the hedge knight. No. It's
He
also
looks
at
like
least
Adir from-
at least middle age. This looks like
He looks like Adir from
yeah,
Pillars.
yeah,
It
definitely.
really does. Yeah.
Fuck yeah, completely. Interesting.
Huh.
Oh well, okay. They should have
custom.
maybe. It seems they made these characters and then they got the art later and didn't change them, because I would have just looked at this art and be like, yeah, okay, middle age. Also probably middle age.
Yeah.
Yeah, young adult is fine. This guy could be middle age, could also be just adult, I guess.
Yeah.
Definitely older than middle age, whatever that comes next, and so on and so on and so on. But yeah, okay.
Venerable is one of them, and I'm surprised that the Maester isn't venerable.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would have made them as like the oldest you could be, and they're like 80 years old.
yeah,
It's like you
Mhm.
can totally be that if you're a maester. You see those
Yeah.
guys all
Oh,
the
yeah.
time.
I'm just looking. Oh,
Oh,
is it above us? Yeah, he might be old or very old as well. The art is kind of, but he's at least. I don't know what do they tell us actual age groups somewhere? I believe they do.
Yeah, they do. There's the start of character creation.
It's
This is a thing that
Where's that?
happens quite
Page 44.
frequently in this book.
44.
And it's the thing
Okay.
that drives me up a wall.
Oh, yeah.
So in this system, they will do sidebar examples, but they will take up an entire fucking page.
Yes.
They do it all the time.
Mhm.
Like,
They do it
stop.
constantly.
Like, make a smaller, cutout, and then wrap your text around that so that it's a,
Yeah.
it's a small example.
I say this. I have basically read if there was a rule and then an example, I only read the example and understood the rule.
Yeah.
So they could have just only put the example there.
The formatting of this book is very poor. It's very stale. It's very boring. It doesn't do a lot. Like there are things that should definitely be inserts, and they're just not.
Sonat, yeah, that's a good observation. All adults must look middle-aged in this setting because of pure hygiene. Yeah,
No, they definitely didn't have hygiene.
At first you just look dirty, and later on the dirt hides your wrinkles. Yeah, just cakes on there like makeup.
Definite systems for brushing your teeth.
Yeah, you wouldn't.
Bathing consistently. That didn't exist.
Yeah.
That wasn't real.
I mean, they did have some wrong ideas about germs and stuff, but they didn't know cleanliness is helpful. It's like, oh yeah, they all drank dirty river water. Yeah, if they had no choice, but you better bet the aristocracy didn't do that, even if they lived in the city.
You either had a well on your farm, or if you had to draw water from the river, you boiled it because people knew that shit would kill you.
Yeah.
Yep. That goes
It's
way
okay.
back.
It's fine. I don't do this for a living or anything.
I like this child. I feel like
he's so small, or that shield's so huge.
I feel like that child painted this shield with the pink unicorn.
That kid plays Fortnite. Look at
that kid. Yes, that's the Fortnite banner they have. Yes.
He starts flossing.
That's his energy. He looks like a kid who plays Fortnite.
Yeah. Has been forced to go camping. And they don't like it.
Yes.
I can't play Fortnite on my Switch.
God, I have to go LARP with my parents.
So wait, you ask if you can be an infant before. So infant to 9. You can. Yeah.
I can be a baby.
Yeah, you can be a baby.
Oh man, that's weird.
Your intrigue defense will be really low, but that's okay.
Yes. Okay.
What are they gonna do? Kill a baby?
So the point of this game kind of isn't only to make your character, which if we all play infants, what do we even do in this game? I guess it's a very different, it's fun. Yeah, very different campaign, but kind of workable. You're supposed to create your whole house, your whole noble family, plus retainers, plus helpers with this. And it's supposed to go quick, which it does, because the system is not that complex.
Really not.
Which is why...
That I literally made that joke the second we announced we were going to do this.
Yes.
I asked if there was an incest system in
this.
There is not.
It is left to the GM to do the incest.
Yes, unfortunately.
Yes. Anyways. These categories like infant to 9 and also I guess 80 and older, they kind of exist to make the old maester and make the youngest child of the family who can be a plot device for the DM, but who aren't really characters. You can play it, and I think it would be funny to play Rugrats Westeros Edition and see who survives.
Yeah. Just play a whole fleet of Aryas.
Yeah. Oh god. You just saw it myself on the concept. No.
What's west of Westeros? I don't know. We're getting there.
Bran.
Who fucking cares? I hope your world is flat so you fall down.
Fuck you, flattens your world.
For real, Arya in the show was terrible. I hated her. Not a good character.
No.
Anyways,
Like the scenes that I remember that I liked, it was because of who she was playing off of, not because of her.
Yeah.
It was always because the Hound was fucking amazing, or the faceless man that she hung out with was just great.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It was never that she was good.
Nagar.
I remember, you know, it might be petty, but the moment I just hated the show the most was when Arya rode that horse into the sunset in, I think, episode 4 of season 8, and then I was like, okay, and I've never have to see her again. That's at least good. And then she returns to the next episode. Fuck you! You can't do that.
She comes back and she instantly solves the Night King problem.
Oh, was that before or after? I don't remember. It doesn't fucking matter.
I don't fucking remember it.
But she also, she also had to be in King's Landing to I don't remember what. Did she do anything? Who fucking cares?
Yeah. I know that
She
just
looked
know the
at
Hound
people
stopped
getting
her at some
murdered
point
by
and
a
said,
dragon fascist.
Yes, I'm not. Oh yes, I'm not. The hardcore GOT enthusiast would just make their own incest system.
Well, look, I'm just saying, Sunder, if you're a really hardcore Game of Thrones fan and you want to include all of the things that are in those novels and shows, I have a fantastic system for you. It was written by a savant. It's called Fatal.
Yes.
And
oh
then
God.
You can just play Fatal.
Oh.
There you go.
Okay.
You've
Okay.
included everything in Game of Thrones.
Okay. Much as I like the hustle, I'm gonna say Game of Thrones is better than Fatal and does not deserve to be represented by Fatal. because I have you for real tried to read that book, Emery?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
I have read it. Yep. It's really funny.
It is funny in the way a horrible accident of someone you hate is funny. Yes. And
the best description I've ever heard.
I'm putting my foot down right now. This show is never going to do Fatal. We're not never.
Yeah,
no. Firstly, we can't show it on stream. Secondly, we don't want to. Third, it's too long. Fourth, it's way too stupid.
Yeah. It's legitimately just awful. Like the entire thing is just the worst system ever written.
Yeah, it's really and it feels like it's that on purpose, but it isn't, and that's the weird part.
It isn't. The guy literally just thinks he's a genius.
Yeah,
it's like the character from Kung Pao who was trained wrong on purpose. That's what it feels like.
Yes, so true. Holy shit!
Fatal. This is much better. So, like, in practice, most people wind up making middle-aged characters because you wind up getting the most points, and you get only one drawback, etc.
Yeah,
you wind up being at the prime of whatever your character
trying
is.
to find the table for this.
It's really interesting. I would have.
What table are you looking at?
No, just where. So there's a trade-off here. So adult can have the biggest dick stat. The only character who can have 7 starting dice in anything is an adult. Everyone else then falls off because you get older, you are not as limber, whatever happens. But they do just all get more XP very linearly to start. They also get the bonus dice thing. They get more bonus dice as well as they age.
More specialties, as they're called.
Yeah, and they get less lucky. That's what I like. The youth can be quite lucky. That's cool. Because Destiny points is basically governs everything from rerolls to it's saying, oh, that lock on the door where they locked me in is quite shoddy, and I can just pick that easily. And then I pay a point and it works. What I wanted to find, there was one where they say, oh, you get a drawback for being old. Where's that list?
Page 51.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you. I must have lost over. Why am I not allowed to type? Hello? There. Okay.
I like when you say hello to bigger programs.
Yeah. And sometimes I have to. Hello. So having so you have to have these drawbacks, which is like, if you're a young adult, you don't have any. An adult has 1, and then from then on, a flaw for any of the following abilities: agility, athletics, endurance. For middle age, so you aren't as limber anymore, you aren't as athletic, and you aren't as your endurance is not as good. and then it just gets worse as you get older.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Which this is all cool and fine. I like this because I could think this is one of the few systems that I've read where you can really be like, okay, I want to kind of play a guy who used to be the best and now he's a bit past his prime, and it's actually in the mechanics that I can do that.
I like that a lot.
Yeah,
I will say I like that a lot.
Yeah, it winds up working really well in play too. And then also, if you're just like, okay, we're gonna make this realistic, we're gonna create this noble house. We've got to have a couple old geezers. We've got to have a lot of young people.
Yeah, and
Oh,
you can very easily like kit bash a bunch of you know, house folks together. I was actually looking at benefits, like the qualities. These are really cool.
There's lots of really good ones. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I was actually just looking at one called Cadre, and it's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
It's just such a cool idea.
We will get to that.
Like I'm into it. This is probably my favorite part of the system. Like there's a lot of depth to the character that you can make.
Yeah. It's for it eventually fitting into you know, so these archetypes kind of they are done. This is a full character.
Yeah.
For these few numbers here, it's a pretty in-depth thing. Yeah, they streamlined it well.
Yeah, they did. They really did. And that's one of the strengths of the system is that it's streamlined enough, but if you're just like, I'm going to really, really drill down and make the character I exactly want, you can do that too. You can do that too.
Yeah.
For somebody who's really obsessive, compulsive about what exactly they want to do, they can read through every quality if they want to. Or if they're just like, I just want to make a maester. Make him a master of ravens and do this and that. And,
also, since
guy knows a lot.
XP costs, I think, are pretty fucking linear, and they're not quite. But it's like, if you only have 10 minutes, you take that Hedge Knight, you look into this, like, oh, how much? So it costs this much to give it to 3. So I can just subtract 30 XP from this one thing. This is -1 to this skill. Put it over there. Character's different. Yay, I have a character.
Pretty
very,
easy.
very, very easily possible. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's so easy. And then like since the qualities, there's a flat cost for each quality. A quality is just a quality. Oh, I want to swap one out. Cool, just do it.
Yeah.
It's not like, okay, well this quality costs 20 XP and then this quality costs 70. No, there's none of that. So it's built for that. It's built for that.
Same for the flaws. Yep. And then you can just spend XP as later if you get it. I find it good as well. These destiny points, they are one-offs, by the way. So you can have to burn them to gain your reroll or your shoddy log or whatever else might be happening. You can also force another person's reroll to can make them have less luck. But they cost a lot of XP, so you are gonna be careful about these. And the DM can hand out destiny points for completing stuff. That's cool, because
and essentially your destiny points determine are the exact same cost as a benefit or a drawback.
Yeah.
So it winds up being very simple.
And I enjoy this because if luck is cheap, then you end up not feeling lucky when you use it that much. That's kind of my problem in quotation marks with the lucky feat in D&D. While you have 3 of them, they don't feel cheap. They feel cheap to use. And then the last one, you really think hard about using it. And that moment is cool. But the first use and second use are not as cool just because you don't have to weigh anything. You always, I have another one. I can reroll this now for a benefit now. But the last one is
that
like,
to me is one thing as a user of the lucky feat. As an incredibly prolific user of the lucky feat, I will say that's one thing that it really depends on the DM and their encounter structure and a lot of stuff like that. If you get a GM like me who tends to run multiple encounters within a day, or changes the rest qualities, those kind of things become much more of a thought.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm just saying
it depends very much in the base game of D&D though.
Yeah, I'm talking.
Those first 2 are fucking free.
Yeah, again, you can make that way more impactful. Yes, but I'm talking base game because homebrew is homebrew. Warrior
I mean,
Slam.
even if even as it's originally pitched is more based on the idea of thinking about it. But hey, some
Yeah.
players don't.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
Most people run D&D wrong. Hot take.
Oh yeah. I mean,
Oh yeah.
yeah. But you know why? Because they don't homebrew.
No, it's because they don't fucking read.
Both. Okay. Both. I agree.
They
Yeah.
skim and then they assume they know how the game works, and then
Yeah.
they play it for 5 years and go, wait a minute, wait, you can disarm, you can trip people? Yeah, no shit. If you actually read the book, you would know how to do all of these
Mhm.
things.
Yep.
Mhm.
But you didn't read the book. You just assume.
Yeah.
Yep.
You can slap for 20 damage all the time. Why would you ever do anything else? Okay, we have abilities next, which, well, that's
Yep.
basically, yeah, that's what the skills are. It's a bunch of
Yep.
them.
Yep.
I-
They essentially combine skills and attributes together, which works.
As I understand this, if you have nothing written down, you have 2 dice.
Yep. If
Okay.
you've done the written down, you have 2.
Okay, cool. I understood
You
that.
start with the default concept that, okay, this is average. You're
Yeah.
average and everything. And
Hey.
you can certainly roll something to 1 to get more XP, but
Yeah, you can do that. I think you can do it once or twice.
yeah, you do it once usually.
So you can be super unaware or super shit at animal handling. I don't know. This might seem like a free thing, but believe me, if any travel involves horses, you don't want this to be at 1.
Yeah.
The DM is going to use that against you. Oh, thank you for the blood donation, Kari.
I should probably take a drink too.
I remember one character in one of my older campaigns who was a monk who had specifically taken a flaw that he was shit with animals. And anytime they would ride a horse, I would have them roll animal handling, and then it would always fail. And then would always be devolved into a sort of one-on-one fight of the monk versus the horse. Where, well, the monk is really good at staying on that horse, but the horse is also just really cranky because of that, and so we do it. And eventually that devolved into that character that's trying to ride everything, including a buffalo and a dragon and everything else in between.
Wonderful.
The buffalo annihilated that monk. It was fun. The buffalo the monk had no dice luck that day, and the buffalo rolled, I think, 3 consecutive crits and just trampled the monk until the monk was out of the fight. It was the whole of the party was standing by and just cheering them on, eventually betting on the buffalo. It was a lot of fun. But I digress.
Yes.
We don't have to talk a huge lot about the skills because they are what you would expect.
They're really straightforward,
Yeah.
and they explain every single use of every single skill.
Yeah.
That's so simple.
Some of these govern your passive defenses, like will governs your intrigue defense, I believe.
Yeah,
Mhm.
awareness is for combat defense and intrigue defense, for
Oh,
example.
okay. So
Some are a little more
but
useful than
can
others.
you use the better one? Do you math it out somehow? How does that work?
Yeah, you add them together. It's the same page. Let's see here. What is it?
Okay, so when are we going to make a
Page-
collective breeding skill check?
Wait, is there a breeding skill? No, there isn't.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, there is.
What?
There is a breeding
Yeah.
skill, but it's based off of your social status.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
under
that,
status.
I
we
really
are
just wanted the clippable moment.
we are getting to that.
Mhm.
I mean, wait, if there's a breeding skill, why is there no incest? There should be incest subrules for the breeding skill.
I'm telling you, they really didn't like.
Yeah,
They
it's
didn't make it good for real Game of Thrones
Yeah.
gamers.
it's technically harder to incest than not to incest, you know?
Mhm.
You have to roll higher to convince your significant other that it should happen. The genes are less. They don't work together as well. I mean, yeah, you have to be real skilled in that to make it work. You know.
Rolled
After-
on his sister stuck in the wash basin.
The
I was
wash
trying
basin.
to, I was trying to control Control C, Control V some work into an important work file, and I was about to accidentally send the fucking Game of Thrones meme that I sent. Civilized discussion.
Oh, we have memes. Let me look. Where did
I
they?
almost sent that to a very important person in my work hierarchy.
Oh no!
Which would have been really good. That would have gotten me a question by the Council of Mages.
How come you are shitposting to me?
I will say, in terms of all players playing in the same house, you know some freaks are going to get into that.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. I encountered it constantly, honestly.
You
Constantly.
don't have to be blood related, but it's more fun.
Yeah. That was usually what people say. It's more fun when it's in house.
Oh god. Yeah, great.
That's our brand right now. That's the brand.
Fair.
Mhm.
And yes, I would agree. Not all of these are made equal,
No,
but that's kind of also the cool thing about them. So like, if you're a maester and actually know some languages that aren't just Westerosian, that might come in handy at some point. Who knows? And it's fine if it doesn't, because you're most likely an NPC that no one actually plays.
Yeah, exactly.
So
And
who cares?
In gameplay, sometimes people would change out characters too.
Yeah.
Do kind of like, oh, okay, well, we're going to go fight. Obviously, the Maester's not going to come with us, so I'm
Yeah.
going to play my Hedge Knight now.
Exactly. That's
Did that a lot.
and right. That's another really good part of this. You can basically everyone can have a roster of characters they find cool, and switch around. That's kind of the Shadowrun effect again.
Oh yeah.
Just
very
that
much
it's
so.
more story driven. That it's like, okay, now we are on the war campaign. Literally, no one is going to be the Maester, because who cares? But later on, if there's like, no, there's a murder at court, maybe someone wants to be the Maester because that guy do be smart.
It totally works out that way.
Yeah.
And then there's also the other way to play this game, where everybody creates their own house and they're all houses working together,
Oh,
which gets really complicated but fun, really fun.
Both of these options have been done in my original house games for Birthright, and they work basically the exact same, and it was super fun. It was really cool.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Not to
I
shit
believe
on
it.
either system or compare, but like, I really like the idea of, okay, Jim is going to control the entire House of the Bear, and they have this benefit for being in this area, and they do this thing, or this is what your hold gets. Like, oh, you're a timber-based economy, and it's like, okay, that's really cool.
I do like
And
that.
then you make 5 to 7 characters where it's like, okay, maybe you have a wizard or a cleric or a fighter or a paladin, and you have multiple different roles that every character can fill.
Yeah, this is a lot of how
they can be fielded as necessary. And I like this, how the speed of the character creation here allows you to really catch people up like that.
Yeah, that's how I tend to. My home game, my real life home game is basically this, because there's one town the party is based around, and there's just been more and more NPCs of that town that they know and they trust and they are working with. And yeah, the next step would be to just hand out character sheets for those characters and then play side adventures. It would be, it's hard to do in D&D because because D&D is more focused on the journey of one character, but it's not impossible to do. But this system is made for it way more.
Yeah, this system is designed for it, like at the outset.
Okay. Then they
really solid.
Yeah, then they explain what actually uses there and how hard they are. I like that you can ignore damage from a fall of any distance. A skill Bran sorely lacked when he fell off the tower.
Just do a superhero landing.
Yeah, just do a superhero landing. Also, why didn't you use your 7 fate points or luck points to re-roll that shit?
Because he worked it out with the GM, actually.
Yeah.
He was like, hey, I want to take this really, really specific benefit. I want to be like a warg.
Yeah.
And the GM was like, okay, but you're going to have to sacrifice something. And he was like, well, why doesn't like Jamie's character just push me out of a fucking window and I get crippled?
Yeah. And you know what? Bran got super shortchanged because then he got six seasons of not getting his benefit because the GM just didn't get to it.
Do I have enough XP now, GM?
No, stay in bed. But I don't get XP for staying in bed. Yes, you broke your back. So yeah, that might be an example of the GM not wanting a walk in their game and just putting the foot down.
Oh god, that's actually perfect. When we were mentioning everybody making a brand character earlier.
Yes. God, that would be it, wouldn't it? Fuck yeah.
We were all all mentioning making brand characters at the start of this, I was imagining a conga line of brands being pushed out of a tower by Jamie. One comes in, that gets pushed out.
Everyone breaks different parts of their body, yes?
Yes, all of them pick different flaws.
Oh, so that...
Jamie is moving at like Dragon Ball Ultra Instinct speed to cripple all the children.
Yes, he gets so many XP points for infant killing.
The things I do for love, but this is to go even further beyond.
The things I do for Kamehameha.
I have this golden hand to better strangle you with, young one. Oh yes, son, that's also a good read. Yeah, that's just your character got pushed out the window. You have to leave now. We don't play mages here.
Your character broke your back. You need to go. You need to go home, and you get no pizza. Go read the entire Song of Ice and Fire. From
I'm going to assign you 30 pages of the dictionary instead of 20. And if you don't know what we are talking about, that's
good.
Good, but also watch/listen to all of this show.
Go back and listen to Prime Directive.
It's fucking classic. Yeah, it's all on YouTube. But yeah, so we have skills. It's weird that they don't all have examples. They just sort of give a few difficulties here and then they stop, which I found strange.
I feel that in terms of sequentialism in design, I feel like you could have that drop off, but I would prefer giving the examples for everyone. Yeah, I agree.
That
feels like an issue with book space. Where again, if they had actually used these tables as inserts instead of like just doing the strict 2-column, they could have actually done a little better.
Yeah, they put the work in enough that you can sort of routine acrobatic stick, ignore 2 yards of fall damage plus 1 yard per degree. Okay, fair. Yeah, a bit specific. Stand up as a free action or use a lesser action when wearing armor with armor rating 6 or more. Fair, cool, okay. That's a 9. I can understand. Now I can sort of understand how hard it might be to ride a horse versus a bison or whatever. And then so on and so on. Then we have some again here for some reason. Okay. And then we have a bunch of skills. They work like you would expect. And then we have the awareness, empathy, cunning. Oh yeah, these things are different. Yeah, the cunning is a skill, and then you can decipher with it, or logic with it, or memory. Yeah, okay, we're not. I thought we were already at the.
Fine.
Yes, these are all fine. This is what you would expect. These are okay. I don't think anything is missing.
No, not really. Like in gameplay, the only thing was like, how about seamanship? And then everybody giggled because I said seamanship. But other than that,
I can probably put that on a drive or something. Who cares?
You could,
And then it's not animal handling though, but who cares again? And they explain the destiny points we already did. They can also convert 1 bonus die into a test die. So this means if you had 2 bonus dice and 4 total, you would then have 1 bonus die, but 5 total ? No, 4 total. 2 bonus dice would be 2 dice. So it would mean you now have 3 dice, and you count in your roll, and it's 4 dice, but you count the 3 best ones. That's what I mean. Then, there can be modifiers to your dice total from injuries and other things.
Yep.
So you can remove that for a round. You can bestow that to someone. You can take a lesser action for free. Ignore armor penalty for a round. I feel is okay. Improve or worsen another character's disposition for 1 step. I like the idea to make an infant and then burning all your 7 points to just instantly make someone love you forever.
I'm the baby, gotta love you.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what infants do for their parents.
Looking at all this stuff, I really enjoy how much you could play into like being a tourney knight or being a hedge knight.
Yes, yeah.
Like a librarian. I would love to see a librarian just randomly.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Just
People
vibing.
played that in games that I've been involved in, like just playing
lovely.
librarians.
Yeah.
And usually they played like a lucky librarian who was good with a knife,
Nice.
or like just good enough with a knife.
Yeah. And again, if you don't think that's a good main character, then just make a second character and play your librarian sometimes. Yeah.
Or what one person did, they just made another character, then they took the cohort quality and they just used their first character as their cohort.
Oh, I
Oh, that's
misunderstood.
awesome.
That's cool. That is very good.
That's a
But I
really good idea.
understood this. So you can spend the Destiny points and you do get it back. But you can also burn it for a bigger effect.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, then I explained that wrong.
Yeah, there's.
Wait, then a child can do this every time they get their points back?
Yeah.
Just improve your character's disposition to you by 7 steps?
Literally, baby is the way.
Yes.
Charisma baby.
Yeah, charisma baby. You don't even need charisma, you just do it anyway. You can be ugly baby, it's fine.
Baby Stewie Baratheon, whatever.
God.
I mean, again, this is obviously me just being a shitlord and being like, oh yeah, this is the rules allow this. No GM would ever allow you to do this if they aren't an idiot. But yeah.
If you said, I'm going to run a Game of Thrones game, and I came up with my baby, and you were like, no, I'd leave.
Well, you can play the baby. You just can't use your 7 points to make someone love you.
But the book says I can.
Yeah, my character would, though.
Yeah, but I'm just playing my character.
Okay, fine. The random knight pushes you out of the tower.
Who would hurt a baby? What the fuck, bro?
You used your points on someone else. He hated you.
That's legit.
Oh, I love it.
Baby, use your points on Neil Lannister.
Yes, and then we get to qualities. And there's many of them, and that is a good thing.
Yes. There's
So,
whole lot of them.
literally, I have 3 pages of nothing but the shorthand for these qualities.
Yep.
These are a bit feety sometimes.
Yeah, they're perfectly fine. Like,
Yeah.
like they are effectively just specialization qualities that can get
Yep.
you into a very specific type of fighting.
Yeah.
Or I really like what drew me to it was Tourney Night. It's such a cool idea where it's like you add bonus dice from your tournament skill to fighting checks.
Yeah. When jousting specifically. Oh no, animal when jousting, sorry. Okay. Yeah, fair. It's like some of these are featy, like for example, I have to be Longblade Master 1 to be Longblade Master 2 to be Longblade Master 3 and so on. And they have prerequisites like in 3rd edition, but it's not like I have to take cleave and then mobility and then greater cleave and then build a whole house of cards upon my feats.
No, it's just sequential feats,
Yeah.
and I like that.
Yeah.
I like sequential feats.
Yeah, I also like
I
them.
do like
The
those.
weirdness of dodge and mobility and.
Yeah, and many of these are also just flavors. I can be an artist. I can just, I can make sculptures and make someone like me because I made a cool sculpture of them. And I can have, I don't know, I can be furtive, so I can be quite stealthy and reroll ones on sneak results and so on. This does most of the heavy lifting of making your character feel different in this.
It does.
Since, well, having a 4 in sneak versus another character with 4 in sneak means basically we're just as good. But if one of you is furtive and the other is a face in the crowd, that's very different. Yeah, this guy would be very good at just hiding in plain sight. Well, this guy would be very good at skulking around at night, maybe sticking a knife in your back. That's cool.
Oh, hey, look, this game actually allows you to specialize in spears and makes them good. God
Yeah,
damn.
spears are quite good in this game.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Almost like spears are a very important weapon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's almost like they're, ubiquitous across human history.
Yep. Almost like they're the most used weapon in human history by a long shot. Yes. The only reason.
That being said, spear bros get out.
Fair. No one likes you if you stand just one weapon. They all have a place.
You've always had a soldier's kit. They've always been approximately 80 to 85 pounds, depending on your rank. They've always included a long arm and a short arm.
Yep.
But hey, that's just military history.
That's just the theorizing, the game theorizing. To quote,
Just a hypothesis.
yes, to quote Killian, who quoted someone else there. But yeah, this is almost it. So you have, these are sorted by what kind they are. You have martial, heritage, fate. Oh yeah, we have not talked about the most important thing in this. Before we go on, we should turn back a little. The your status.
No, we lost Drake.
Did we? Oh, Drake probably got the internet boo-boo. Drake's gonna be internet completely died. She says, well, I'm gonna try my best to explain status then. So status is, I assume Drake's gonna be back soon. Status is a measure of how known and important your character is within the hierarchy of nobility. So if you are a goober in a town somewhere, your status is probably nothing to 2 or something. If you're like a good smith, you might be a bit more regarded. And then if you're the king, you might have one above 6. I think the most you should have to start in this game is 6 for whatever lord leads whatever house you are making. And it's basically a stat like any other, and you might roll on it and it might do stuff. Which does mean that the lord of the house has to buy his status with some points. Making that person worse at other things, since they have less XP for them. The game explains that as, oh yeah, but they have to, have to know all sorts of things about governing, which doesn't help them with other things. Which I would say is an explanation they arrived at to...
that's where it drops off to me.
Yeah.
It feels entirely like a balanced thing of like, well, we don't want the player playing the head of the house to have greater control over all of the players, but I would substitute this with a different thing, which would basically be an out of narrative diplomatic solution by saying, okay, who wants to take on these roles, and give each of the roles kind of a unique thing that they can do during play.
Yeah.
Colville actually did that with Kingdoms in Warfare, in which, you could just be the head of a mercenary company or a kingdom, but that doesn't inherently make you superior to the other players. You still have to work together, working cooperatively to make sure that things can actually function.
Yeah.
You get into this issue where there are some players who are just tyrannical and you don't want to deal with them.
I agree.
You just don't, and that's where, like, instead of implementing safeguards against assholes, just don't play with assholes.
Yeah, that's a good shorthand. That
has always been my way of doing it.
I would say this. If you read this book, you have 3 ways you can tackle this. First way, what they did is, it's a skill like any other, so your character is worse, which I don't like. Because, as we have established, if anyone was actually not, learned and had good tutors of anything they wanted to put their mind to back in those times, it would have been the rich folk who happened to be the nobility. So they would not be worse at fighting or at whatever because they had more tutoring. Yeah. So that makes no logical sense. You can say it doesn't affect anything except you are better at status. Welcome back. We're talking about status because we had forgotten.
Oh yeah, status.
And the base idea. So I'm just explaining the 3 ways you can do it. Firstly, like they do, character gets status, so they are worse at other things because they had to buy it with XP. I disagree with that approach because it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Then, second way, just make it its own thing, and it's just a thing you decide, which I would have done. Because as Emery has said, it's kind of shit to... you shouldn't have a safeguard against bad players in place, in somehow tying social things to your game rules in this manner. Yeah. Because why? And the third thing would be, again, don't tie it to the rules. And find another way to sell that it's not always good.
Yeah.
Because it isn't. It very much isn't. If you're just if your idea is to survive in this game, you probably don't want to be the head of a house, because the head of a house always has a huge target on their back.
Yeah. So here's how I would have done this, just as somebody who enjoys noble intrigue as a plot line and likes game design. I would have just had it tied to a quality and said you get one free status quality that, maybe your status is an outsider. Maybe you're like a hedge knight or a bannerman or, head of house. But like it says already, there can only be one heir and there can only be one head of house at a time. Period.
Yep.
So you make that discussion, everybody talks and they go, hey guys, are we all making one big house? Okay, cool. Well, I'm interested in the intrigue and I really want to run the house. Is that cool with everybody? And if you have two people who really want to do it, you figure it out. You go, okay, maybe this is going to be transactionary. You be the heir this time. I'll be the head of house, or you can be head of house. I'll be your son, and we'll work on that.
Exactly.
But taking a higher status, the higher your status goes, the lower your intrigue defense is.
Intrigue defense,
or something like that.
Yeah, not
or
as
something similar. I'm just spitballing.
Yeah, I know.
But like you have like a greater encounter rate or something like that.
As written, intrigue defense isn't it? I would completely divorce it from the hard rules. I would just say, okay, you're head of house. That means the following: you are the person everyone holds responsible for everything that goes on. So that is very much a bad thing, in a way, because if the players happen to fuck up and, I don't know, kill a family for no reason, then that falls back on you as much as the players who did it or the characters who did it, because that's your honor on the line. So you kind of have to hurt all these cats around and stuff. While if you are just a hedge knight, no one might like you, but also no one really cares about you. And there you go. That's a different thing. And you don't need to tie it to mechanics directly. But anyway, I'm just seeing Freeman, a free haircut. Yeah, we already spent a good amount of time shitting on George R.R. Martin. But the system is pretty good.
Yeah, the system's okay. There's more stuff in here that I would want to use in other systems or be inspired by than actually play or run.
Yes,
that's where like the system as it is just it's very dry to me.
Oh, it's super dry.
It's not very engaging. Like I'm not getting the jump that I really want to get out of the system.
When I say this does the heavy lifting of making your character feel special, it's kind of, you still only get one or two of these, maybe three if you really want to spend.
Yep.
Then you get one or two negative qualities, maybe three if you're old or something.
Yep.
That is not that much, because if I'm like a hedge knight, my three qualities might just be X Fighter 3. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
And then I'm just basically an X Fighter. That's not really a character trait. That just means I'm good at cutting people with my X. And that's, like, that's not really great. That's not a character. And it's just, you're known for your X-manship, I guess. Good job.
And then there's really no room to grow that character after that point into being an even better axe fighter.
Yeah, exactly.
You're the best.
Yeah, so probably the idea I would have is, maybe I take Axe Fighter 1 and then choose another thing or another two things, just to make it interesting. But if you really just want to min-max in this, a character is going to be hella boring.
You min-max in the system, you just wind up not having as much fun as the people who didn't. Yeah. Just by default in the system.
Yep.
That's why the person who insists on, well, I want to have a 1 in something so I have more XP, they're going to miss out on stuff more than have fun by having that detriment, honestly.
This is very much like a jack of all trades or a spread your points system, and I think that's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's reasonable. I like systems that give avenues for character growth.
Definitely.
Because, like, you think about it, the hedge knight, he won't be able to go to the market and deal with people with his 1 in persuasion constantly. He won't. And realistically, he's a hedge knight. He's got to sell himself. Yeah. So why would you go that route with your character? You wouldn't. Yeah. So
I actually love all these drawbacks. I'm looking at some of them, and they are really fun.
Yeah. Let me just quickly go. All the benefits then get a longer explanation and how they work mechanically. The mechanics tend to boil down to you get dice or you get a +2 to a result or something.
There's
Um,
small adjustments.
And
They're just,
and that's fine
yeah.
since the system isn't super complex, making these kind of easy and but still good because the +2 is quite nice in the system. It's fine. It works. And then we have drawbacks, which eventually we're gonna find. There's a lot in this book, so a lot of them. But it's still going. It's still all qualities. You can walk. I guess that's a quality you can have.
Mhm.
Because and then there's drawbacks, which same thing, other way around, of course, right? And as we learned, if you're an adult, you have one drawback already.
Yep.
I really
the
like
outside.
stuff like Haunted and Honor-Bound. These are really cool.
I mean, just look haunted.
Haunted is great.
Haunted,
You
yeah.
suck at awareness tests, but the first round of the combat, you can add memory dice to your fighting test. You literally get stronger.
Damn.
Because of your
Oh god, you
PTSD.
just get haunted is PTSD. Yes, okay.
It's fucking radical. That's so cool.
Mhm.
The
I
Doom
like stuff
music
like that a
kicks
lot.
on for one turn.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Nice.
That's so cool.
Yeah,
Mhm.
a lot of these
I also
are
really
nice.
like Haughty. I love the idea that your character's just disliked by anyone below them. Like, oh, you're a bastard. I guess you suck shit then, shit sucker. Bye.
Yeah.
And then you peace out.
Yes.
It's actually, I actually think these drawbacks are more interesting than the benefits. That's the crazy thing.
I think so. I think drawbacks tend to make your character a lot more than your benefits. Because benefits tend to be something, okay, I'm decent at charisma still, I should take a benefit, it gives me even more. That's kind of a no-brainer.
Let's be a eunuch.
But then deciding, okay, is my character craven? Is my character actually a fucking coward? And that's an interesting question. And no one really wants to be any of these things. But, well, you have to be one of these things. And not all of them are, not all of them made equal. For example, childhood disease, -2 health. That's impactful because you don't get lots of health in this game. At the same time, this is fucking boring. This is not a good drawback, in my opinion. Because that's not something you roleplay out. Oh, I'm a bit more frail than the other persons. Who fucking cares? But Craven, for example, is something I really like. Just like, you're just not gonna be great in combat because you fucking shit your pants, and that's that's interesting.
Nemesis? That's the shit.
I'm gonna click Game Bowl.
Game Bowl, let's go.
You acquire a destructive enemy, an individual who holds your utter contempt.
Season 8 is that fucking Soul Calibur 5 shit.
Yeah, it's dumb as hell, but they did put it in.
At least it was fun to watch.
I hate that it was in there, but I liked seeing what they did in that one moment.
I clapped when it happened.
Yeah. And haircut. I think both these qualities and the flaws sound very fun to add to D&D, and you can almost just do it.
Yeah.
Because
almost good, yeah.
Because okay, not the -2 health thing for being having childhood disease, but being like, you subtract a bit of some points from everything in a fight because you're just a fucking coward. That works. That's really bad as a flaw in D&D, but you can make it work. You can be slower. You can be crippled. You can have cruel insanity. What? You take a -2 on all awareness tests involving empathy. Additionally, when engaged in intrigues, your opponent's disposition is always one step worse. And you can easily take all of these and put them into D&D. I would not put the combat ones in.
Yo, they put me in this game.
I think, did they? Tell me in a sec.
Yeah.
I want to go over this. So what I wouldn't do for D&D specifically is there's a shit ton of martial qualities in this. Martial qualities is something D&D gives you already with your character class, so you don't need these. But the social and the heritage and the fate and the what else is here, and the ability qualities, those are fun and you could put them in. So they put you in.
I actually do enjoy some martial additions because there are some things like I feel like defensive dueling in 5th edition could be a little better. I feel like it could push a little bit more heavily.
Okay,
I think that kind of stuff could be cool.
Okay, I'll say it differently. Some of these shouldn't be in. It should not be the thing that, again, that you're just better at axe fighting or better at spear fighting for no fucking reason. That is never fun, and and I'm going to go as far as to say no class in D&D should have that, because it's just dumb. Because it shoehorns you into something it shouldn't be. Like, I have to take swords now because I've took fencing or whatever, because sword is just best weapon for that. I don't like that. But there might be some in here that are fun, that are fine. I'm just saying in general.
I enjoy specialization if it does something that is narratively interesting. I'll say that.
Yeah.
So,
Exactly.
for example, do you remember the UA that came out that had stuff like Spear Mastery that was awesome? Where you could like hold a charge and do like some crazy reaction attacks, or
I remember
like
that one
I think the
clearly.
Flail Mastery where you can like sweep it over a shield. Like that stuff
Yes.
is really interesting. Where it's a specialization of a combat style, but it doesn't say exclusively make you use finesse weapons.
Yep. It depends on how you use it, not how much weapon you have. Yes. And again, I would just say, for example, no, you don't need 3 X fighter feats in your D&D. That just doesn't fucking work. You might invent one, and probably it isn't gonna work like this, which is another thing. Most of these, since they are very much more tied to the combat mechanics of this game, they aren't as easy to adapt, because we're gonna get to combat eventually.
Oh yeah. It has its bugs for sure.
Okay, so Emery, where are you? Where did they put you in this game?
Yeah. I sent it into the Discord. Supreme Arrogance.
Oh, Supreme Arrogance. Your arrogance blinds you to the danger swirling around you. You take a number of penalty dice equal to your status rank on all awareness. What?
That's so bad. Who would ever take that shit?
That is holy shit. That
would literally kill you in one session.
Not only are you an asshole, you're also easy to assassinate. Yeah, that's not a good combination.
Yeah, that's absolutely fucking stupid. I would just rather take Audi, where it's like you just get a lower die on awareness tests and empathy. I actually way prefer that.
This one, I mean, just click on this very much. This very much feels like an NPC quality.
Yeah.
Which, again, since you are making your noble house, it might be a thing where you say, okay, no one wants to be that, then the DM just makes up the head of house, and the head of house is this huge dick. And that makes tons of problems for your characters. One of them might be the heir or something. And that's interesting. That's interesting narrative again. So this has its place in the book. But it's not a good.
It's not really in a player character vibe.
And also, it tells you that these flaws, again, they are not made equal. They're not supposed to be made equal. This is the narrative side of things. And I will say now, I feel like that clashes a little with itself. Because they are cost the same. So then the min-maxer is just not going to pick him. And again, you don't want to play with the min-maxer, but there's also a little bit of min-max in each one of us, and no one would want this, because it just means even if I play this shitlord and have huge fun with it, they can die at any time, easily, because they just don't notice that they're getting snuck up on and getting owned, and that's not a fun character then. But I digress. Do you need to be right back, Emery?
I do. I will say, however, before I head out for 1 second to use the lavatory, I don't think that any game should be balanced. I think the inherent desire to balance a game utterly flattens anything interesting.
I tend to agree.
So definitely do something where everything feels fun for everybody, depending on what they want to build. But never make something crazy good because players in the play testing aren't taking it.
Yeah.
Like that's why in say 5e clerics and druids are fucking broken because nobody wanted to play them.
Yeah.
So they just made them way too good.
Yeah.
Like, okay, congratulations, you overbalanced your game.
Yes. So you're telling me this character is not only a full cast, but they get 2 health pools or 3 health pools. Awesome. That seems very balanced. Yeah, good job, guys.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
a focus on balance leads to overbalancing, and you should
Yeah.
be looking at what maximizes fun for the entire table.
Yeah.
What gives you the most interesting combinations.
Exactly. That's what.
And cool.
Okay, we're gonna talk about that while you go to the lavatory, because that is what Shadowrun is all about.
Yeah.
Like in Shadowrun, you can totally make your super duper awesome fighting character with like 20 dice and shooting a gun and 12 dice to dodge any bullet coming at them.
Yes.
And so on and then if you're a DM, you ask yourself, how the fuck do I deal with that? That's impossible. I can't shoot them. And yes, you can't. But what you can do is hack their fucking comlink, find their house, and fuck with them. Or send a wizard in who just a stun bolt and they go down like a sack of potatoes, because your character can't have 20 dice and guns and be good at magic defense. It doesn't work that way.
Mm-hmm.
And so
or force them to abuse their social pool for anything at all.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why in Shadowrun it's very much a thing. You do not challenge a character that someone made really good at something with that thing. You challenge them with their bad stuff. And that is narratively interesting as well. It's not narratively interesting to be like, oh, this is John Wick over there, but we also have a guy who's really good with a gun. Who might win that? Probably
Boring.
Still John Wick, and it's always going to be boring unless you set it up really well, which an RPG isn't usually that good at. You can't be... If you are like, oh, we are going to tell you for 10 sessions about that really good fighter, then meeting that fighter might be cool, and then it might be an interesting fight, but it's not worth it. Not worth the setup, because the game should be about the characters, not about NPCs who are somewhere in the world.
Exactly.
And
that's part of why the drawbacks in this system in particular help support that, like especially the social side, because there are ones like Lascivious where, like, during an intrigue, your first persuasion attempt, you have to seduce in every entry.
Yes, that's nice.
Things like that. Like that adds something, because that character, okay, I'm going to replicate Tyrion Lannister. So every time I try to persuade somebody, I'm going to be seductive the first time, every single time, even though I'm a dwarf. Like that adds something to the game.
Yeah. And because, again, this doesn't mean they have to be good at it.
No, it doesn't.
This can be a cool quality for everyone. So, like, if you're really, really good at persuasion and seduction anyway, this is fun to take, to just be like, yeah, that's how I am. I'm just a himbo or bimbo or whatever. I'm just gonna always do that. It's my modus because it works so well. Or you can just be a hideous monster and then still do this and come off super creepy, which can be fun with the right people if you play it right. Yeah, it works. A lot of these work well. Some of these, again, are boring. Like anything that's just permanent, reduce your status by 2. It's kind of this happens to be boring also because this doesn't really gel well with the game as intended. Because this specific one is like, yeah, I wrote my status of 4 or whatever because I'm the second son of the house of head of the house. Why am I okay? I'm an outcast now. I'm just have the status 2. Then you come up with why you're an outcast, but you could have just been status 2. You fuck off. Who cares? Just do it different.
Exactly. Usually that's the one that we wound up banning from games because it didn't make any sense, even with the system itself as a whole.
Exactly.
And then supreme arrogance we usually reduce to, you just take a penalty, not penalty dice.
Yeah. Yeah, the penalty dice thing really.
That's way too big.
So, yeah, you can have above 6 dice penalty. You cannot have a roll. And then the character is never aware of anything, and that's just stupid. It's probably meant that someone is arrogant above their station.
Oh yeah.
If I have 2 dice and if I have 2 status, then this might work because I'm just really, really a haughty. I mean, haughty is its own thing, but a really just over the top, arrogant, rich merchant, for example, that can work as a character.
Yeah.
But it's still not well written. These are not created equal, but most of them work. But
Yeah, like that one was
You
intended for
return.
Joffrey characters.
Yeah. But then,
Who the fuck wants to play Joffrey?
if
seriously?
Joffrey had supreme arrogance in Game of Thrones, he would never have survived that long.
No, he would have survived 2 sessions.
Yeah, if
Yep.
that.
Yep.
Probably end of second session, Joffrey just gets rolled over by 20 carts just coming at him because he didn't see them.
He gets pushed out of the tower next.
Trying to cross the road. Yeah, getting pushed out of the tower into oncoming traffic. Okay, and then we get to the other real meat in this thing, which is, well, we are creating a noble house, right? So we have to create the house.
Yep.
And that's good stuff.
That is good stuff. Of course, really tied to the Westeros setting here again. And you can, and the most important thing about the house is, yes, you can roll this, but obviously make it up together.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. All these are randomized. You can roll on them, but you really shouldn't. Just you should. The game pretty much expects you to make most of this up. Like, for example, this roll I understand because it's like, okay, where do we want to start? Do we have a strong opinion? No. Okay, then let's fucking roll. Oh, Riverlands, I guess. Cool. Then let's make something for Riverlands.
That's the whole purpose of that, honestly.
Yeah.
Is I can't decide.
Yeah, and it's on purpose, I think, that they they weighed them. So King's Landing is unlikely, and so is Dawn. Just because these places.
This is my one issue with the system. Are they expecting like GMs just to make massive Game of Thrones fan fiction, or are you intending people to make like
I think
their own houses in these areas?
I
Because
think
at that point, if you're making your own houses, why even bother? It's just Game of Thrones AU. Which is
no,
just not fun.
the thing is, you are not making like the Starks, or you're not making the Baratheons. You're making a minor house under them, I think, in game universe. Yeah.
Oof.
Yep.
Which
Their banner houses and
is, I agree with you, Emery. I think a failing of this.
It is a failing, yeah. You don't
but,
get to be Ned Stark. You get to be Ned Clark.
You get to be Asher Forrester.
How about Stetnark?
That's a fucking cunt. Anybody know the fucking Telltale Game of Thrones game? I do. I played all the way through it.
Yeah. Oh my god, you're right. Yeah, if you've ever played that game, you know.
It's literally just that.
Yeah. So everyone dies and everyone sucks. Yeah, that game is so bad.
Hey, except guess what? Asher Forrester is fucking radical.
That's true.
And Roderick's pretty cool.
Yeah, but
I like the characters in that game a lot, or at least those two.
I liked some of the characters, but it's
anytime
still a
it
shit
has
game.
to deal with the show characters, it's absolutely awful.
Yes.
And guess what? I can guarantee it's exactly like this.
Yeah.
So here's the thing in which, hey, due to being licensed products, I get to talk about my great love, Star Wars Fantasy Flight again. Hey, guess what? If Boba Fett shows up and you fight Boba Fett, that's pretty fucking cool. It's gonna happen once, maybe twice if he's tailing you, but it's reasonable that a character, especially a main character, is gonna deal with somebody like that. But like, this is something that is so heavily tied into, the locations, the geography, the culture, everything in this world is tied around these noble houses. So like, it's going to just become the GM's, George R.R. Martin fan fiction.
Yes, exactly.
Yep,
it's a Xerox of a Xerox. It's already fan fiction of fan fiction. So like that's where I run into issues.
I agree with that. I think the failing here is their insistence to set this in Game of Thrones book time.
Yeah.
There's literally thousands of years of prehistory you could just make up. And then you can be Starks. You can be the Starks. There happen to be the Starks of 200 years ago. We don't see in the show. You can also technically be the Starks of 200 years in the future. No one would want to because the show just killed it. No one likes the setting anymore. But you could do that. But no, they are very insistent. I think good for their bottom line in this case, because when it came out, to just tie it very close to the books and the current year time in the books.
I'm from a long line of Arya Starks who have all had immense plot armor. You can't kill me.
Yes, we have all gone west, ever further west. Some of us,
Stabbed
wrapped
all the
back
blue men
around.
in the world.
yeah.
We circumnavigated.
It's
We're
not.
back to
yeah.
be the worst.
I can tell you, it's not flat. It's dice shaped. Yeah. So yeah, you're gonna make a minor house under one of the main houses, and that's your lot in life, and that's, well, we don't like it, but it's very workable for what it is. Since well, most of this map is not really known to us, so we can just put stuff in there. And then you have your house has some stats, which is defense, influence, lands, law, population, power, and wealth.
Hey,
and
do you know what they stole all this from?
Birthright?
Motherfucking Birthright! This is the exact same system in Birthright.
Yeah, I bet it is.
Fucking works.
I bet.
Yep.
Yeah. Because
the game that came out guaranteed 20 years before this.
Yeah, because here's
I
my,
know they played Birthright.
Yeah.
I know they did.
Yeah, here's my hot take on that. How else would you do it? These are just the things you have when you do that.
Exactly.
There isn't really anything else to make up. You're just gonna name it differently. You can name lands holdings, and you can name law something else, and I don't know, population is people,
I'm gonna go grab
but it's fucking the same. Yeah.
It's Birthright. I'm gonna go because they actually gave you cards for the thing, like a page. I'm gonna go grab. I think it's Andier. I think this is the one I did. Let me go grab it.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, I agree. Free haircut. The whole reason for KOTOR is to play within the thousands of years. Yes, it's them tying themselves so closely to it's just bad, because you can't affect the higher thing. So would you really want to be from the Riverlands if that means you're under that stupid fuck? Who was his name again?
Tully. Yeah.
Tully? No, you wouldn't. Who would be under Tully? Who cares? You just know Tully is an ass in the show, so GM is going to be an ass if you play under Tully. Exactly. So you would kind of be one. Who would you care to be under? Baratheon is okay. That's North is okay. Iron Islands is if you want to be pirates is okay. Riverlands, no. Moon, no. They are crazy.
They're crazy.
Lannister, if you want to be the villains, that's fine. Tyrell,
I'll fucking chill with the Lannisters. I'll chill with them as well. If villains are cool. Tyrell, boring as heck, except for the old woman. Baratheon again. What? Oh, because it's Dragonstone and the Stormlands. Yeah. Okay, yeah. They get to, and Dawn is just not really explained, so that's kind of your wild card. I would play in Dawn. I would like to play,
especially with this book.
I would like to play in Dawn the most, since it's just not really clear, and you can just ignore the whole sister business and just have fun, since they all die anyway and lose heart. But Dawn is never affected, so let's play in Dawn. Okay, Emery, you are back.
I am back. Hello.
Welcome back.
So how did they do it in Birthright?
Hold on. I'm trying to grab the pages. It's actually kind of difficult without the book.
Oh, okay.
Here it is. I have the domain table of a place called Renway, which is a cool thing. It has a little blue unicorn as its thing. But let me get you the.
Fuck! It's the pink unicorn. They made a reference.
No, it's they have a blue unicorn.
Okay.
Anyways, here we go. I'm gonna copy this. Copy paste. Bam bam. There you go. Look at that. It's provincial based off of laws, guilds, temples, and things like that. But it's like the nitty grittier stuff that you would get with the actual sheet.
Yeah.
Sheet.
Yeah, they have slightly different ones, but it's basically the same thing. Yeah.
Basically the same. Yeah. Effectively works out being the same.
Like, we don't call our thing temple because temple and law are not. I guess it would just be law in this one. But you can, for example, lands and population. What the fuck? What does land do you good if there's no population? It's kind of redundant. I have swaths and swaths of nothing. Yeah.
There was a lot of homebrewery that wound up going into multiple games that I played of this because it was like, well, what is population really good for then? What is law really good for beyond a bonus or penalty to your fortune rolls?
It also has some weird ideas. Like law, if you have super high law, there is no crime in your lands. No crime.
Yeah, that's it.
or
That
almost
doesn't
no
make any
crime.
sense.
It does not make sense. The only way
No.
this makes sense is if you also have lots of land and no population,
Hmm.
because then no one is there to do the crime.
Exactly. You stole this sheep that. Oh, there's nobody to
I mean,
report it to.
okay,
Never mind, there's no crime.
I guess you're not meant to, since population 70 is all or nearly all of Westeros, it's not meant to really be that high. And I don't
Honestly,
think you
the
can make it that
scales
high.
are-
Yeah,
We ignored the scales so many times
I
because they were
believe
just
it.
kind of silly.
Yeah.
Especially like with defense, because defense, it's like you spend defense in order to get castles and things.
Mhm.
So it's like it defense 70. Oh, does that mean I get several castles? No, it doesn't. So, it would make sense for me to have multiple
Yeah.
castles or
Like,
fast or whatever.
yeah,
But,
you get into quickly territory of asking, why would I spend my defense if just the land is that good defensible? Just a big mesa somewhere with one little ladder up top, and we stand there with spears and shoot everyone who tries to climb or whatever.
It's just honestly not very interesting in terms of like what you would actually be integrating with. This is why stuff like Birthright makes it very simple and crushes it.
Yeah.
And crushes it down a little bit.
Right. A lot of this feels like unnecessary complication to me.
Indeed.
Since again, if defense buys me a castle, then just put in that I have a castle at some level. I don't need to spend points of my defense on that.
Yeah.
And if the point of the story is, oh, you can lose the castle though, yeah, but then I'm a minor house. How many castles can I have?
Yeah.
If I lose the castle, then I'm no longer in charge, am I? And so on and so on and so on. And influence. A house's name. Okay, so you make a house. It's not a land per se. So land would mean you own lots of land, even if no one's on that. It's worth something. Maybe you can trade it in for favors or whatever. So it's not directly a country you make or a city or whatever, but it is kind of that, factually. And so some of this is just a bit weird.
And the other thing is that you see where the status thing breaks down further when you look at the influence table. It starts telling you what the maximum lord's status is.
Oh yeah, that's
and it's just like, oh wait, but I wanted to make my character a status 6 noble heir.
Yeah,
why
so
can't I do that?
I guess we have to have 51 status. What the fuck? How can you even make? Where do we have to start to have that? It's influence. So we have to be from the north, from the mountains of the moon, from the Westerlands, or from the Reach.
Yep.
Why these? Why
more influence? Like, why does King's Landing have a penalty to influence?
Yeah,
that doesn't make any sense.
A lot of this feels a bit arbitrary. I mean, I understand the defense bit with the north is just very big, so they get a bit of bonus. The Iron Islands are islands, so they get a bonus. The mountains of the moon and Dragonstone are just basically super inhospitable shit places, so they are very defensible. And then some places are not as understandable. Influence seems arbitrary to me. Lands. Why? What? Land in of itself, hot take, doesn't really do anything for you. It's kind of pointless.
The reason why they did lands that way is because the obvious reason for the North and Dorne. Oh, well, there's not as many houses here, so you get more land. Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, but what does it do? Again,
land is just literally like portions of land. That's
I understand.
It's literally just your borders.
But it means nothing. I have a big border. It's just you can wave your big border around. Land is pointless because
bragging rights.
It does nothing. I have to say that.
No, but Nora, the flex.
Yeah, I get it, but you can also flex with your influence. Far better, because you can have a status of 6. If you are from House Tully or House Martell.
Yep. And the thing is again, this is another thing that we wound up homebrewing, because you're like, okay, if I have a really high land score, does it mean it's good land? Can I have good land then? And we're like, oh, that makes sense. Okay, so like maybe we can spend land points to have like a good forest that has lots of beavers in it or whatever. So we can make beaver hats. And then we're like, okay,
Great.
you know what? This is where the system really dropped the ball, because that could have just been in the core book.
Yeah.
But they didn't do that.
It's like lands should be not the size of your land, but what you do with it. It should be the value, which is tied into population and wealth. So land is pointless.
Yep.
If your wealth is high and your population is high, then it's a big town and they are rich. If your wealth is high and your population is low, then it's like, yeah, you have your beaver forest where the best beavers live, and you export their pelts and make hats from them, and you're super rich from that.
Hot take. If you actually made it reasonable, then King's Landing would be the absolute fucking best thing in the world, because it's incredibly defensible. It has an amazing surrounding land. It has a great population, and just like everything, it would be the top tier.
Yeah, mostly it would be. I would say, right, King's Landing is on here, right? Yeah. They get shit. Okay, since you're making a minor house, it's like -5 influence. I understand, because you can't really have much. Okay, lands, just ignore lands. Influence, okay. I guess since you are not the big player there, you're kind of one of many small players, so this makes kind of sense. Lands, I don't care. Law +20, I don't agree.
I completely disagree with law +20.
It's a big city. There's lots of crime in big cities.
Yeah.
It's way harder to stop. If you have, I don't know, if you have some hedge knights living in your hedges over there in your land, you just flush them out with your knights, and then they are gone. Then the crime is lower. But if it's a big city, there's going to be intrigue. There's going to be a thieves guild. There's going to be everything, and you can't really do anything.
It's perfect and good and wonderful because we got big walls, huh?
Yeah. What I find even dumber.
A lot of knights.
Yeah, and here's what I don't know understand. Population +5 and Riverlands is +10. What?
That doesn't make any sense to me still, because like even in the books, they bluntly say that the Riverlands are not the most populated place because it's largely farmland.
Yeah.
Other places are way more populated, like Lannisport and all sorts of other places.
The Riverlands are the breadbasket of that place, but it's not most populous. What?
Yeah, they should get a bigger bonus to lands.
And then I disagree with the wealth minus here. Power again, you're one of many, but wealth, you have way more opportunity in King's Landing to get rich by trade or whatever. Oh, Platination, like, thank you.
Wait. What do you mean wait, hold on. The Reach. Isn't the Reach literally the breadbasket of like everywhere?
Wasn't Riverlands and
lands +0.
Oh right, Riverlands and Reach was it, right? Yeah. Both. Yeah.
The Reach is literally where like all of the fucking wheat is produced for every kingdom. Yeah. Why is it lands +0? What the fuck do you mean?
Because lands means nothing. Lands is just how big your dick is once again. Oh, Sondert sent me something. There it is.
The Reach is also poor. The Reach also has just a +5. What are you talking about?
Yes, Sondert, yes, thank you. This is exactly what we are talking about the whole time.
God, this is awful. It is Birthright, but worse, because Birthright actually made sense of what fucking everything had.
Posture check, okay. I'm actually gonna send. Okay. We have shit on this a bit enough. Let's see what they do with it. They explain it, then you get so you have your initial mods, which is like I guess you start at 20 for everything, question mark?
You roll 76.
Oh, 76, okay. So they have initial stats, then you modify them by wherever it may be. These people are idiots for picking the north and getting land that's nothing for them. Good job. And then you roll on a history table, which I enjoy. Since now you can, I don't know how often you roll. I think it's player dependent. Who cares? So you can roll a bunch of times on this, and then just see. Oh yeah,
it depends on how old your house is.
Yeah, we had a revolt some years ago, which means we have less law in our place, and population is a bit lower because people died. Our power and wealth are lower. But then, someone did us a favor, so this happened, and then at the conquest, we reconquered the land that the invasion took away, and so it's still more lawless now because they did a lot of shit there, and it's bad. But well, at least we have our population back and our health back, so on, so on, so on. This I like. This is really cool because. Yeah, it's you're writing history. It works. Oh, here's the roll. How many you roll? So, and you tend to get at least like, unless you're making a super new house, which have just literally gotten the land last year, you are likely to get at least 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of these.
Yeah, exactly. And then the first one that you roll is supposed to be the founding event. So if you get like victory, okay, maybe the founder of the house won a great victory, and so Mr. High Muckety Muck of House Lannister said, "All right, I shall give you a domain." You know.
Yeah. Oh man.
Pretty straightforward.
Oh god, imagine rolling infrastructure for that.
Oh yeah.
That's really bad because that's super boring.
You're basically Brand the Builder.
Yeah, you are kind of. Yeah, okay. You are competent at You are competent at farming. Here, have land.
Going back to our beaver hat land. All right, well, but you were a really good trapper.
Actually, I'm going to take that back. That is cool because this would mean, like literally, your house is so super mundane that everyone underestimates you constantly. Yes. I kind of like that.
I would enjoy playing that.
And yeah, okay, they explain what each of these might be, then you make them up, and then you get your bonuses and minuses, and then you have a thing. And then you spend points of investment for holdings. Which, funnily, so if your house is super new, let's say you somehow luck into having a new house with only one event and your power is 50. Or your defense is 50. Then you can invest all that into a castle that's not built yet. Because it takes longer to build a castle than the game time is. And before you gotten your fucking title as well. It's funny to me.
That's actually a really good point considering how long our build time is.
And these build times. Yes, please.
Yes.
If a major house or if a noble land is going to be central to my campaign in any game I run, there's a handy dandy game that I tend to play with all of my players called Kingdom or Microscope. And you can either use Kingdom or Microscope because it is a round table narrative design in which you basically go around the table with Kingdom, for example. You could say, okay, and the good King Aemon, he founded this, and then the next player could go, okay, well, this guy assassinates King Aemon and usurps his throne and stuff like that, and it just goes around and around and around until you've built a history.
Yeah,
it's fantastic.
Exactly. Yes,
it's a wonderful thing because that type of narrative generation is fantastic. And while I like this system, I don't know.
Yeah, my question is, so if I invest 50 points of my defense into the superior castle, do I still have my defense, or is it gone? Is it like tied up in this, or is it actually lower now?
It's just tied up in it.
Oh, okay.
You don't actually lose your defense.
Then I don't. Then I'm kind of okay. I'm kind of okay with this. It's like, yeah, okay, you can do this.
Yeah, there's some things where you do lose it, like if you spend wealth, but that's a different thing.
Okay. Yeah, I mean,
because there are wealth holdings, and then you can also spend wealth.
The important thing is that this all generation is supposed to happen before you start. So it being a bit gamey is completely fine, since once the game does start, you can probably, like, if you conquer your neighbor somehow and gain a second castle, well, your defense is it 90 now? I don't think so. Makes no sense. Since the most defense anyone is supposed to have is 70. So it kind of works differently from then on anyway, but this is kind of tells you, yeah, if we only have 10 defense, I guess the only thing we have is a fucking tower. That's kind of sucks. But that's maybe our house is not about really fighting so much or defending our shit so much directly. So that's a narrative you can do. It's fine.
Oh yeah.
You own I own SWAT Chronicle, which is the non-licensed clone of this. It's okay. I haven't played it much, but it exists. I agree, Witch Queen. We know that there's a non-licensed version of this.
Yes. Apparently it's worse, isn't it?
Yeah, it's worse.
Okay, can you
now I will say
elaborate as to why you think it's worse? Because I have not read it, so I don't know.
Me neither. I don't know. Trake?
Okay, so the reason why it's worse is because they decided to go back and Xerox the first edition of this game, which still had more bugs in it and more issues in it.
Oh no.
And then they did whatever they could to make it generic. But in making it generic, they decided to not provide sufficient examples. So, like, the section where they mention, okay, well, the lands might print bonuses and penalties depending on what they are, they don't give an example of what that would look like at all, anywhere in the book.
Yeah.
So, like, they don't say in the example kingdom of, I don't know, Mudland, they could do something like, okay, well, there's just 5 different regions in Mudland. Here's the really muddy place. Here's the wet place, etc.
Yeah.
And then each of those places get these bonuses and penalties. They don't even do that. They don't even give an example of that.
Yeah, that's then okay. That's going to find the other direction. This book,
generic,
does know what its strengths are, which means it leans very heavily on the plot they have licensed. So, like, you know what the Riverlands are if you play this fucking book, this game. So they don't have to tell you what the Riverlands are. You can then agree or disagree about the stats they give it, which I like in population plus 10 is weird. But it's the shorthand that works. If you take the shorthand out, this book has to be bigger.
Much bigger, and it's not. So that's the problem with Sword.
Now, I will say, I really, really enjoy the land holding system. I think it is really cool. I like the idea that that you have extra resources and terrain, and like the feature cost table is really cool. Like you could have different communities like hamlets or cities, or whether or not you have a grassland or islands and such. And islands are incredibly expensive, of course they are. And there's your dense beaver-filled woods. Look at that.
Yes,
right there. I think this is really solid. So having a place with like light woods and a lake, and maybe it's got like a large road through it, that would be great. You throw a ruin in it too. That's cool. That's really cool.
Yeah, I mean,
you can do all that.
Yeah, this again, I feel like it's kind of its own thing. It doesn't belong with the rest because
you could cut the system out and use it as like a generic like fantasy town builder.
Yeah, just the fact that
into any other game.
The fact that I could be like, yeah, we have 40 land. Let's spend it all on islands. Does anyone live there? No. There is no hamlet on these islands.
Empty islands.
Yeah, that's
completely barren
islands. That's an interesting story to you because, well, that belongs to you guys now. Good luck. And then you build your fucking kingdom.
Bro, I'd be so pissed.
I would love this because it would be like, yeah, okay, we have some wealth, we have some population, I guess, somewhere, maybe. Why are cities tied to land? Or is it just general cost and these costs
this
population?
Is just a feature. These are just...
Yeah, but so these would cost population while these cost land. Okay, then I misunderstood that slightly.
Yeah, like, again, this is something that I had to adjust in homebrew because eventually I was just like, well, it would make sense for the community to require that you invest a certain amount of population and land in each one of them.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, okay, well, here we go. Here's the benchmark for each one of them.
It feels like, okay, it feels almost like you get out the hex scroll grid and then just say, we have 30 land points. Let's get 10 grassland hexes and island hex with our castle on it. And then we buy a road and put a ruin over there, and then there's a stream. Yeah. Oh, we have 1 point left. Let's subtract through grassland and put a wood in, a light wood instead.
I actually really like that.
That is kind of cool, yeah. That actually works for me.
I love the idea of building your own hold. Like, that's really neat. I might actually steal some of this.
Yeah.
All of it is very, very still worthy for that. Very much so.
Okay,
I think that's interesting.
In if the campaign then is about maybe conquering more land or finding another way to add land to your place and it having actually an effect, yeah, I'm more in than I was before about land being a stat. I still don't really like it, but okay. Then maybe I'm more against law being a stat, but whatever.
Yeah, the law stat still is like, what?
Population score 0 means your house fortunes go down? Okay.
Yeah.
And too much population also means it goes down. Why?
And House Fortunes refers to fortunes rolls that you make every season.
Oh, I see. That's just stuff that happens. Okay.
Yeah, because over time your house can grow or shrink. You have house actions you can perform, etc.
So you can have army. You can have an army. Oh God.
Yeah,
Oh
powerless
God.
army
Oh, I
and
was
banner houses.
very smart when I read this. I assumed green was not the descriptor of anything. I assumed it was just called the green soldiers. Like in they're
These
just
are soldiers from the Reach.
they're just very
Wink.
very green. You know, we paint them, and that was a bit
And-
weird because their example gives you this somewhere.
And it's
It
very
doesn't
easy to
matter.
quickly build troops for this system too.
Yeah, which is cool.
Because it's very similar to what you use for characters, except
Mm,
you only consider 3 attributes for
Yeah.
each army unit, and that's it. You know, it's really fast.
Yeah.
It's really simple.
that works. Well folding, Scotswood Guilds, Meister. Yeah, I feel like some of this is a bit. A marketplace is something you have to buy. If you have a town, imagine a large town without a marketplace. How does that work? So either it's
Poorly.
very poorly. It wouldn't be.
Very
It wouldn't exist. How would that exist? So some of
Mhm.
this feels like just don't. We don't care. This plus
Like
one.
it should say significant marketplace
Yeah,
or significant
right.
mine.
Everyone has this, so no one gets this bonus. So just ignore this.
Mhm.
But meanwhile, a mine or a port, fair enough.
Yeah.
Even a sept, that's all cool. That works. And then we actually make our house. We make a coat of arms, which this one I really enjoy
Yeah.
because they actually
Oh, wow.
explain heraldry to you.
They go all the way
That's
with
good.
it too.
Yeah.
That's good. I like the unit examples and stuff too. I like
Yeah.
that a lot.
For sure. I think this might be my favorite part because it's actually so many people.
Also, Ayo, trans cat though?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. It's like
That's fucking
what
Game of Thrones based.
Yeah.
Let's go.
what I'm getting at here is more or less a lot of people have great difficulty coming up with this shit for their own campaigns. And
Yeah.
this is real helpful because it's like, this is a shit ton of examples. Just do a Gyron cat next because why not?
Yeah. And if you don't like it, just randomly generate it below.
Yeah, roll on this table. And then you don't know, maybe decide on cat and then just roll and see what happens. Put a big dick on your shield. It works.
Yeah.
I know
Don't put a dick on your shield.
do it. It's on this. It's
They'll
in
all
the,
laugh at you.
No, it's in this. If it's big enough, they won't. Listen, those shields are huge for a reason.
Uh-huh.
Yes. House Cockerel.
Yes.
Get out.
But yeah,
No.
this. Wait, what do you? 13d6. Interesting. So what is way more likely in this? In this case, I don't think they.
Yeah, they didn't really think that out.
Yeah. So everyone has an eagle with 2 heads or something.
So
We can-
yeah, everybody would have a goat or a goose
Yeah.
because that's right in the middle.
Yeah, true.
Oops.
So it's
A goat.
from
Oh,
40 to 50. It's just like everyone has that. No one has a raven or a wolf. That's a bit weird.
Yeah.
But this really, if you're coming to this point after doing all these rolls and you don't have an idea what fucking animal to put on your shield, then I'm sorry, you deserve to have a
Yeah,
duck.
You're really not invested in the game,
Yeah.
honestly.
This is
House Cockerel.
This is, I think, the most, yes, you can roll this, but really, why would you ever roll this thing I've ever seen? And in a good way, because, put the numbers next to it, but the author didn't expect you to roll this.
There's a random table for objects, too. I didn't realize that. And the last entry is woman. That's one of the objects you have on there. Woman.
Awesome.
What the fuck?
Wait, what else? We cannot beat woman, but I want to see what else we have.
Portcullis. Alright.
Caltrop.
Hey, 7-pointed star. That's my shit.
I like ship dismasted. Like our boat just sucks. That's our motto.
Mm-hmm.
Portcullis,
Lightning
man.
bolt. Arm naked.
What is the level? It's just what does it mean? What's a level?
So like, so
Pac-Man,
like an
stage
actual
1?
leveler for like hanging a picture.
I like the idea of it being Pac-Man stage 1.
Yeah.
Hard flaming head top. Gemma jewel fetters eye.
Oh, that's dice. I thought that said dick.
Get your head out of the gutter.
You already had dick before. It was called cock.
Oh, I have it again.
Okay, woman. Woman is awesome for objects. That's okay. They did.
If you had a finger pointing, that could look a little bit donger.
Yes,
you know?
I do enjoy. You might read this and be like a leg, really, but then you remember the Isle of Man. They literally have that for a banner.
I fucking hate that. Leg.
Yeah, but all of these are real except woman. No one has a woman on their banner. Where are we? Where are we here in this house?
I just looked up the Isle of Man flag again, and I remember how much I hate it. Fuck.
Yes,
It's a fucking stupid 3 legs.
Yes, one wasn't enough. We have to have more. Look at it.
God.
Oh my god.
Oh, I love it. It's so dumb.
This is like, what are you guys? The Mountain God's Eye or something?
And this tells you, you know, as exhaustive as this seems, no, the heraldry is way more dumb than that.
Oh yeah. Way more.
No, heraldry is literally just AO what looks good and what's the heraldry of the guy I'm serving?
Yeah.
Okay, now we tweak it.
What looks good? I can only rest my case. 3 legs.
Of leg.
3 legs. They should each have a football. That's the only thing that could make better here. Ah, fuck. So good.
Yeah. I hate this flag so much. It looks like a fucking Metal Gear enemy.
Yes. Shit. That would be the armor when they should go the leg, man.
Oh, yes.
Oh, fuck. Okay, and then what do you do next? Charges to field. Okay, yeah. Then you do a bunch more shit. I don't really. There's a lot to do.
You do a lot with heraldry. Yeah.
You can then generate your NPCs.
Mm-hmm.
It's also basically almost a list of these guys should probably be in your game. Like,
yeah, you should probably have these, or your players should be these guys. Like,
yeah,
I can guarantee somebody at the table wants to be the best fighter, and they want to be the master of arms or something.
Yeah, no, and I personally want to be from out of this lot.
You want to be the baby?
No, that's you. You're the baby and the best fighter.
Baby and the best fighter.
Oh, that'd be fucking awesome. I would love to play the baby and also like the champion of the house. That'd be fucking awesome. Those are my 2 characters.
Yes. I think you know the most chill job in this is the Kennel Master, you know that. Unless you're working for the Boltons, that's just a fun job.
Mm-hmm.
I take care of the dogs all day. What could be better?
That's a vibe, you know.
Yeah, you get paid for that, imagine.
Yeah. I just saw the name House Karstark again, and I keep imagining that their house motto is beep beep.
Nice.
Hey, what a Karstarks. This is the Hot Rod. What's up?
Okay.
It's just like a horse that's painted like black with like flames on it. That'd actually be really sick. Hold on.
Then Furious Game of Thrones edition.
Then they explain Westerosi and money, which is
bad.
Yeah, it's like this is the first thing I would throw out.
Yeah,
because as player or DM, I would just be annoyed, being like, "Yeah, you get 8 half pennies and a half gold for your troubles. That's just 6 pennies. Can I have 6 pennies? No." Can we just do a 10 system? No, George R. R. Martin demanded to be as dumb as the shilling back in the day.
Oh God, yeah.
It has to be as dumb, otherwise it's not real, and I hate it. I read recently of a designer at TSR coming up with a bunch of stuff about heraldry, and the higher ups told him something on the lines of, "Yeah, we can't use that Greyhawk has heraldry, and we can't have 2 settings with detail." What?
Yes.
What?
Yes,
Yep.
that's true.
Yeah.
So,
What?
okay, this is actually great insider stuff here. Give me a second because I've worked with a lot of the guys who work on Greyhawk.
That's
and things
amazing to me. That's just what?
That makes me
But
hurt
yes, okay,
inside.
so basically, because Greyhawk was a significant deal, because Greyhawk is basically Gygax's stuff, and then
Mm-hmm.
what is it? Fucking oh, I can't remember the name of it. Oh, what is Arneson's setting? It's really good. I can't remember it. But anyways,
Blackmore?
Blackmore. There we go. Thank you. So anyways, basically, just the issue was they were making a lot of detailed stuff for Greyhawk, and when they were expanding into other settings, this was actually an issue with Birthright when it originally came out. But the Birthright creator said, "Hey man, my setting is entirely built on this. It's not like some backlog garbage that where I'm just generating random images. Like I put a lot of thought into my heraldry because I think Birthright was actually the guy's like fantasy setting outside of D&D, and he licensed it to TSR if I remember right.
Okay.
But
Interesting.
yeah, it was wild. It was wild. Yeah. That was the weird thing is that like Greyhawk got a lot of push in the TSR days. It was that, and again, even Blackmore like wasn't really super popular.
And then the worst system one, worst setting one.
Well, it was
Faerun.
just it was Gygax. Yeah. Well, you know what? I'm just gonna be real. I love Birthright. I love it as a setting. I think it's the most detailed out of all the classic ones, like classic
It
D&D,
is,
like
yeah.
Greyhawk and Blackmore and everything. But I don't think Faerun is bad.
my
Hold
what?
on.
Okay.
I think Faerun is too generic
Mm-hmm.
when it's being written by most people.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's so much wacky, weird shit in that setting that nobody ever touches.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
I agree with that, and my main problem with it is just everyone has put their DMPC in there, so it's so just chock full of level 39 wizards who could just end every problem, and then why am I here? I hate it. And so it's
that was the best thing they ever did in the realm of Greyhawk is they made Vecna lives and then die Vecna die, where they instantly killed off all of the big NPCs.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's my
They instantly killed off every PC.
Yeah.
And that's what they should do for the Faerun. They should have like a cataclysm in which all of those like legacy characters just fucking die.
Fuck Elminster. Elminster deserves to implode into some sort of goo. For real.
I love Elminster.
Listen, I love the character, but it's not good for playing in this setting.
Yeah.
Make him a god then, and make him have other problems.
Yeah, make him
because that's basically what. Yeah, it's basically what he is. So fuck it.
Guys, the entire joke behind my design and lore is Elminster. That's the entire bit is that if you let a wizard get too powerful, they become a god in the setting.
Yeah.
And it becomes totally unusable for anyone else.
Yeah, exactly. You agree with me. Yeah.
That's the whole point behind my design. That's why I'm a high-level wizard. Because the idea of I'm the best fighter in the land. I'm gonna go fight this wizard, and he just vaporizes you and then teleports dimensions away.
You know, I just realized like that's the whole core of Dark Sun too. All right, I invented wizardry. Whoops! They just caused the apocalypse.
Time to become evil.
It gives me so much joy seeing people every time they put out a setting or a book or anything. All of the man babies who have been crying about Dark Sun for 25 years getting shafted again. I get so much joy watching them.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna get Dark Sun anytime soon. I wouldn't mind.
No, it's because it's not a good setting.
I think
it's the OG. I don't have wizards in my world, and if you're gonna play a wizard, then you're gonna have a bad time.
Yeah,
just say you love martial class.
Okay, here's my hot take. I don't care. I like it, and it's fine. But it's out of its time now. You can't release it as is. And B, you shouldn't be afraid to change things, please. Yeah. It's fine to change things. And please do that.
They did it for 4th edition. I mean, like they did Dark Sun for 4th edition, and they said, all right, we're going to hold to the thing where there's no gods. Okay, we're going to hold to that, so you can't play any divine-powered characters. Ta-da! And
Yeah.
everybody was like, wait, what? You're not going to include elemental clerics? No, we're not going to write it.
Yeah.
It's a boring, restrictive setting that's just Mad Max cosplaying.
Mhm.
Perfectly fine, but I'm not going to play it.
I like to visit it, and I think a full campaign there might be boring.
Yeah.
But it's a cool
it's good for a
tourist
short
town.
campaign.
Yeah, we did that with Drake at one point, and that was one of my personal highlights.
Oh, I think with significant revisions to it and kind of a revisiting of the idea, I think you could make it work.
I think that's
why bother making it work when they have other settings.
Yeah, I think that's the long and short of it. There being really, you can rewrite this completely and then it's going to be good. Okay, but that's true for anything.
Mm-hmm.
That's my opinion on Dark Sun entirely. Is why bother going back and rewriting the entire thing from scratch when it was just serviceable to begin with.
Yeah, haircut.
Well,
and like if it doesn't work now, then just make a new setting and it's fine.
Yeah, haircut. I agree. DMs who hate casters are shit DMs. I will say I would like them to make it easier for me as a DM to make a caster, please, at some point. Because if my character's at 12th level and I have to make a 13th level caster as just for a random encounter, that's going to take a while. And what I always end up doing is just, I have the spell list open, just select random spells they happen to have, and then they cast them. That's, I think, how everyone does that, because they don't give you a good system to quickly make that up. And it is true that
it should be template based.
Yeah, it should be
100% be template based. And you should have a base wizard kit, and then you should be able to slap a couple things on top of it.
Exactly, that's true for any caster as well. It's not just wizards, also clerics and anyone else.
I'm just using wizards because they're like the most complex.
Wizards can technically have the most spells and everything. And if you want to fully build a wizard out on 13th level, that's going to take you a while.
Yeah, it does.
Just for the spell shit alone. And that is the reason why I, as a DM, just wing it with wizards, which is fine. It works, but it would be cooler if they gave you something more. And same again for all other full casters and even half casters. It's just a lot of extra work, because while every other class fits on 2 pages, casters have 200 extra.
That's where they've been addressing that a little bit in some of the re-release stuff, where they have a lot of the spell abilities like flattened into like signature abilities, like actions, and I think that's fine.
Yeah,
I think that's okay.
Yeah,
I still like having the option of a spell list, but just basically like crushing it all into this guy has a cool smashy radiant attack is fine.
Yeah,
I know a lot of people are complaining about it. I don't really have an issue with caster building. I just wish that it was, like you said, faster. Just again,
I haven't
make it template based.
Exactly.
Seriously.
My issue isn't that I can't do it. My issue is if for example I roll on my random encounter table. It's 1d3 wizards you encounter. Then what do I do then? Technically, I know I have to stop and decide on 53 different spells they all have.
Yeah.
Because not only could my group fight them, they could try to trade with them for spells. They could try to ask for an identify spell, and then do they have that? Probably do, because it's level 1. But do they have this other spell the group wants? And oh my god, it's a big piece of work all of a sudden. But okay, we are getting sidetracked. This book also talks about...
We're not ripping the currency system apart because it sucks. That's it. That's the only ripping it gets. It's not good. The currency system does suck, but just don't play with it. Just do a 10 based system, 100 based system. Who fucking cares? It doesn't matter what the fucking currency is. It matters how much of it you have. Like, if we are 50 rich, what does that mean versus 20 rich? That's what you want to know in this book. Not that chicken costs 4 copper pieces. No, I don't give a fuck. It's abstract this away from me. And they do go into that wartime prices can be way higher. It makes sense to me. But why you need to have all these things in here? Completely agree. They should not really have cared to tell you how much they cost that much. Should be like, this is just wealth, just trivial. This actually costs something, and so on and so forth.
and then maybe
I
make
like how there's a
wealth.
quality of weapons. I really do enjoy that.
Yes, I do. I think
That's one
this.
thing that they do good here.
Yeah, I think but importantly, please, if you're a DM, take this shit as examples. Like, for example, a Bravosi blade is just better than a left-handed dagger or a small sword. Fair enough. Cool. It costs more. Cool. But the fact that this book tells you 3 weapons in the fencing category does not mean there isn't another weapon there. Just make it up, please.
Yeah. Yeah. The categories seem a little too, how can I put it, restricted.
Yeah, it's just, this is supposed to be examples, and then of course they give you stats for these. I hope.
No, I'm sorry. It's
They do
you can't
in the
have another
combat
weapon.
section.
What?
You get no more fencing weapons. You only get 3. No, if you try to introduce another one, I will kill you.
Yeah, it's not
Only
accurate.
3
It's just not
Only 3.
not accurate to the setting, so you die. Yeah, instantly.
You just
Transfer
burst
3
into
weapons or you
flames.
die.
Yeah. Haircut, I think the way to do it would be a pick spell class, pick level, and then basically have some set and some rolled spells, and then you can just roll a bunch of times and get the spell book or the prepared spells out.
You know what would be really great? Just use a digital tool and like random roll a reasonable spell list with certain parameters.
Yeah, just give that to me though. I don't want to build that and I don't want to find it online. Shouldn't be on the players to make your game playable.
Okay. Oh no, I'm meaning like from the developer. They should be putting out more digital tools.
We agree. Completely agree.
Should be able to go, okay, randomly generate what kind of wizard this is. Okay, they're a necromancer.
Wait, what?
Necromancers usually get this, and then here's some extra roll.
Is it? Wait.
What?
Plate armor weighs 200 pounds?
What? Excuse me?
Well, it must be quite thick.
50.
What? Body? Oh, bows for horses. Oh, okay.
For horses.
Okay. Okay.
What?
Okay. Okay. Fair. I was just what?
I almost had a fucking
answer. There you go.
It also explains why the leather armor is so expensive. And why it weighs 60 pounds. I think that's too much still, but yeah. Okay, if it's horse barding, okay, it weighs more. I can dig it.
Yeah, there's about 50 pounds in this, and that's reasonable.
Yeah, 50 pounds is indeed reasonable, yeah. But I was like, I just scrolled past this and was like, oh, armor, look, there's some armor, didn't read barding types. Plate armor, 200 pounds, 12,000 silver stacks. Okay, cool.
Sorry, you can't do that to me.
Emery was about, you were about to end this game's whole career. I get that, Emery. I'm sorry. I should be more careful.
No. It wasn't even that. I was about to have an aneurysm. Like what do you mean? Because that's what happens every time.
Yes, I know.
People always go like, "Oh, it's so heavy, right?" Like, no. It's just literally, it's fine. It's just heavy shit. But it's not that heavy.
Yes.
Quoting Bill and Ted. Hey, man.
I will give this book a big bonus for including a shit ton of poison.
Yeah, they knew they had to.
Yeah.
Poison's good.
Yeah. Hot take from me: poison D&D should be way better than it is.
Yeah.
Not every creature is.
Poison is not bad, but I would have rather had something that was like a more general thing instead of like the poison tables that they have.
Yeah.
I would have just rather included like ingredients that can do a thing and cost this
Yeah,
much.
my problem with poison specifically in D&D is that if you look at creature immunities, it's like, oh yeah, 300 of these are just immune, lol. Yep. And then the next one is fire with like 80 or something. I don't know the exact numbers. So specializing your character in poison, you better hope it's only going to be fighting against humans and humanoids, because otherwise you're going to be completely useless. And then it's also kind of, you poison your blade and then you stab a dude, and then there's its own role for it can just be a shit DC that everyone makes or whatever. It should be against enough. It should probably get a subclass of heroic that does poisoner, and you can just invent. Let me just finish my thought. Just be able to invent, like, for example, trolls are poison immune. I don't even know if they are, but I'm just gonna say, study one, and then you can make a poison that works on them. Just go. Here's rules for that. No, you go.
Okay. poison has absolutely no focus because it's not really something that an adventurer uses or a hero uses.
Yeah.
It's almost exclusively used by, like, you know, savvy dilettantes and assassins, which is a very small subset of players. So just thinking logistically, why would you put a ton of effort into a poison system?
Yeah, but it isn't. Is it really a ton of effort to write a rogue subclass or something that's just? Yeah,
it isn't at all. That's the crazy thing.
That's the
Hey,
thing.
guess what? That's what I would have built the assassin around.
Yeah,
I would have built the assassin
same
around
here.
poisoning, studying your target, and doing one shot damage.
Assassin is kind of so weird because okay, first round you're really good, and then after that not, unless you get the flatfoot thing again. So you
just called it one hit wonder.
So your one trick pony ability is just I can maybe do this again if I'm lucky.
If you're lucky.
I don't know.
But yeah, building it as a subclass that would be around memorizing target details and taking things down over a longer period of time would have been nice.
Yeah, you might have. It's not a hero class, but then they made other classes not for put them in a DM guide, which are not for heroes. Yeah. You can still now play as characters because why wouldn't you?
And there's something to be said for poisoners. Just like, I'm going to poison that water elemental. I'm going to put some dirt in him. Come on.
Yes. Just piss on him.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm gonna yellow water elemental.
Yes, exactly. Turn you into a mud elemental, boy.
It's the wizard. Dare ye enter his magical realm?
Yes, and haircut. Yes, I agree. Completely. Yes, they don't have to do this, but I think it's a low-hanging fruit. They should maybe consider doing, because poison.
Like
poison is almost poison is completely useless, and I like to do this in my game where I'm like, hey, you find these vials. You don't know what's in there because you are not the fucking alchemist, so better find out. You don't recognize this as a healing potion. It must be something more special. And no, identify doesn't help you because it's not magic. Mm-hmm. So go to an alchemist, and then the alchemist tells you, oh fuck, this is really bad poison. Good thing you didn't drink this. Or they tell you, this is just a herbal healing potion. It doesn't have magic, but it works just as well. So you could have drunk that when you were really low in that one fight and you didn't know. That's interesting to me because it just gives the world some credence, some logic. And writing a 3-page rogue subclass that is like, it uses poison and you can ignore poison immunity if you do this and that. It's not a lot of effort. It's easy and should be done. And since everyone who does this house rules it differently right now, just grab some of that shit and put it in. Oh, blood donation plus check. Thank you, Drake.
Yeah, just like you were going to do the elemental. Just grab some of that shit and put it in.
Yes. God damn it.
I refuse to engage on this one. I refuse to engage on throwing shit at a water elemental.
Yeah, but according to you, that's something the Game of Thrones fans would do.
Yeah, exactly. Or the new Hado Z, like you can play from UA. Somebody said that was new to me, and I was like, no, it's not new. Go away.
Wait, the what now?
Hado Z.
Oh, yeah.
I'm out of the loop.
Oh, from Spelljammer.
God damn it.
Things.
Yes. My problem with Spelljammer is that I read it in German 10,000 years ago. So some things are not going to translate for me.
Yeah, some things definitely won't.
Okay, let's see. So then we have intrigue and rules for intrigue, which yay.
Yeah. This is social combat. That's basically all it is.
Yeah. Works fine. I want to kind of start glossing. We have been 2.5 hours. This works. The problem with this system is that it works very well and is not very deep.
Yeah, it's not too deep.
Which is fine. It's just gonna mean it loses its luster kind of quickly because one intrigue guy you make is gonna be as good as another intrigue guy you make with maybe one defining characteristic, makes them different, which is not a recipe for good mechanical fun. It's just a recipe for quickly having good roleplay, if you want.
Yep.
Combat, blah, is also. This has, of course, you have not very high hit points, you have realistic healing, which means normally I would be very against this because it means your character is out of commission for weeks and weeks. But since you have more than one character, who fucking cares?
Yeah.
Exactly.
hmm That's why I'm
And
just working with this system as it is, because
Yeah.
it's just assumed if you make a fighting guy, you probably also have an intrigue guy.
yeah, it's kind of too nitty gritty for me in that it's like, oh, you have a movement of 5, unless you have this stat, then it's 6, and blah, no one cares.
Yeah, it's a little too, a
And
little too numbers-y.
that in a system that otherwise is very abstract, really. They are very, some are very anal about movement, which is just why.
Yeah.
Can I hit him this round? Yes or no question. DM just, yeah, I guess. Why not?
hmm
And then that's combat.
They do detail about jousting and tourney events.
Yeah. I like I like how deep they go in jousting, because I feel like normally jousting just really gets fucking ignored. And
Jousting is a really cool thing.
yeah, and that's to explain, since not everyone might know. So the difference between fighting a guy with your lance and jousting is that jousting is at a tournament, has way more rules, and you have to do it right and stuff.
Okay,
And
here's the basic thing. Here's the basic rules of jousting. I knew a few jousters. I was a tourney fencer. They were jousters. We kissed and were gay. Anyway, so jousting is effectively a point scoring game.
Yeah.
Hitting the leg, I believe, actually gives you no points. I think that's actually a disqualification. I don't remember.
Mhm.
But you're
Yeah,
trying to aim
most
for the
circles it
torso,
is.
the shield, and the head.
Yeah.
Those are your
And I assume
three, like, target zones.
dislodging is also kind of cool.
Unfortunately,
Dislodging is additional points. Lance breaking is kind of a fun thing. I've known a lot of guys who were habitual lance breakers because they're built to break away like that.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
Yep.
Especially jousting lances, since they are supposed to maybe not kill the other guy.
Yeah.
At least in I mean, not at all times,
fun.
but at least also
Very
historically.
fun stuff. They
Yeah.
are genuinely great. Like it's great stuff.
They talk about how other competitions are run, which is kind of nice, because usually as a DM you kind of run into just roll attacks and maybe.
Well, because really the thing is, like, the joust is a main event, but
Yeah.
there's tons of shit around there, and you get a bunch of tourney knights who are like, oh, I specialize in the broadsword or mason shield or
Yes.
greatsword or things like that. You know, you
Yeah.
get characters who can do a lot, and then there's also other games. You know, there's marksmanship competitions and horse racing and
Mhm.
Grand Melee is a good one.
Yeah.
the Grand Melee, fucking eating competitions.
Yeah.
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 Big ones.
No. So, haircut. You've pointed out one of my absolute favorite things. At least I believe you've alluded to it. The idea of we have a sharpened / a heavy wood lance that has been substituted for somebody's breakaway, and that's a great murder. That's a great way to murder a noble.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Is we've handed off this guy an actual sharp lance.
Yeah,
and
just-
now he's speared to the chest. He's fucking gone.
Yeah. The little rounded thing at the front is just hides its spear tip, and then
Knight's tail, maybe.
yeah, that's almost classic, I think, because yeah, who's gonna find out, right? Oh, my lance didn't happen to break. Well,
Oh no.
how weird. I mean, you can't do that like 10 times in a row, but it's
Oh no, I've murdered 10 different guys with my lance. It just didn't break. Who would have thought?
yeah, it's very red and bloody now. But well, I won this tournament. Also, there's no other heirs to this throne anymore. How weird.
So weird. I guess you win or you die, right? Am I right, guys?
Yeah. Oh man. Oh god. Imagine this might be what I want to run in this. It was just a super sleazy goober campaign of this game where the dumbest intrigue works. But this kind of shit would work, where it's just like, yeah, we're also gonna poison him with the poison. That would be fun for an evening. And then they put you at advanced combat rules, which state are optional. Which
totally optional.
I do enjoy optional combat, because oftentimes you don't really need the big rules for this.
We
Oh, that's
usually
radical.
include
Look,
the rules
they
for
literally put it
criticals.
in.
Yeah.
For tourney lances, they have the fragile quality, so they
Yeah.
break when they get hit.
Yeah, Yeah.
Fucking awesome.
yeah, they did it right. It's
Yeah, they
quite
did
good.
a lot of little things right.
Yeah.
Like if you go through the weapons and you pick them apart, you realize, they actually thought quite a bit.
Yeah.
Like some weapons have the slow quality; they're cumbersome and difficult to wield with speed and grace. You can't okay, I'm gonna hit this guy and then this guy and then no, you can't do that.
Yeah. So
You're gonna swing it once.
Just reach. Reach is a very important quality all on its own. Guy with a pike. Guy with a pike, actually, if you parry him once, not that hard to get to, because then the hard part of his weapon is behind you, kinda. But still, if he's with some friends and they all have the pikes set against you, good luck getting there. It's not gonna happen. They're gonna fucking kill you. Which is why it's so rich to me that people assume in the Middle Ages, if both sides are just long pikes, they would run at each other and then stand and stab each other at 6 meters distant. No. They probably didn't fucking do that. They probably were very careful with that, and it was a huge risk to try and get anyone, because back then, surprise, surprise, people wanted to live, especially if they were peasants who were due at the farm.
With the pike is it's just like the pike is really good for the initial combat, but once you're past the initial clash, the pike is completely fucking useless.
Yeah, and I would posit that oftentimes they did never get past this initial combat where they just stand there 6 feet apart because they're not gay and stab at each other a bunch.
Well, that type of combat is explicitly why. What were they called? The Landsknechts. That's exactly what they did. They ran in with fucking Zweihanders and slapped that shit.
Exactly. They just broke the shafts, and then those guys on the other side just had no weapon left, and then they were owned because those guys still had their swords. Yeah, that works.
Oh my god, the idea! Here we are having a civilized 12-foot away war, and come to
yeah, then some asshole just destroys all your weapons. Yeah,
they absolutely breaks your fucking weapons and kills you.
They got double the money because they were, of course, target number one. Because any guy with a Zweihander who tries to disarm all your friends so you can get killed is gonna get stabbed at even more.
Oh yeah.
So yeah.
They also got paid shit tons specifically to keep them on a standing payroll, so they didn't just go and raid towns.
Yes. Oh, that is kind of true of those times as well. But in wartime, you pay your mercs because they want to fight for you, and in peacetime you pay them as well, but not as much, because you don't want them to get too desperate to just rob everyone. Yeah, that's interesting shit in the Holy Roman Empire and also Italy.
Bring it back to the book. Yeah, the reach rules. If you look at the advanced reach rules, they get really specific about it. And then, okay, well, I want to hit something that's like a yard difference from what the reach is of this weapon normally. Cool, you take a -1d, but you can't do any further than that.
Yeah.
Like they try to be somewhat realistic about it.
That's really cool.
Yeah. These combat rules work. Will go as far. Then they have a warfare system. Warfare system basically. Yeah. Well, we have made armies before. We have made our house guard and our levies and whatnot. And so those can also obviously fight. This is about having a noble house. They have armies, and then they have stats. And then they can they can just fight, and you basically do that with these rules. And good luck.
Yeah, and it works pretty well. Like I've participated in forum games that use these rules, and they wind up working okay.
These are kind of very passable in terms for they actually thought about this, because a lot of the time in half-assed rules it's like the soldiers are the hit points, and then they do this much damage according to their weapon, and that just breaks apart very quickly. This is it's better. I'm not going to go over everything, but the system works, which I think
Oh yeah, well, and equipment matters once again. You can upgrade the equipment of an individual unit by spending your wealth.
Yeah, and they all train them and stuff over time. And just since this is also about we are rolling random events per season with shit that happens to our land, or the DM just has stuff planned for us anyway. I guess a mixture of both is the king's way there. You end up having to solve problems, and that might be with your army, it might be in other ways, and then it might be important that you that you give them weapons and armor and have them be happy. And this is a lot of the book, and it works.
It's cool. Like it's neat.
Works.
Like I
Yeah.
like this system to a degree. I continually go back to I don't think there's enough draw for me to, use more than just singular systems.
Yeah, that's kind of my take here as well. Yeah.
Like I think there's a lot of really cool jumping off points, but I don't think I would run this.
The DM portion is also fine. Kind of, kind of almost. There's some tables you can roll on, but mostly it's what you would expect. It works fine. And then I have to admit I kind of stopped here because I didn't have time. Is there more?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to the top.
Yeah, they do a sample adventure and so on.
Oh, okay, that's cool. I'm also always a fan of the sample adventure in your book, even if I don't usually run them. It's good as a practical example, and as a here you could plan like this. Journey to King's Landing. Oh, this is actually okay. Several chapters.
The terrain, straight up the terrain shit makes it Fire Emblem. Like,
yeah. It works. It's
awesome.
cool. Yeah,
it works. Yeah.
It's a nice system. Yeah. Okay, well. I think we are getting to our final thoughts here a little bit.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Yeah. For me to go first, I think I want to play this once, precisely once, because then I think after that it would lose its luster for me. And by once I mean campaign. It's like I don't know, 20-30 session campaign of my house, whatever we make up as a group, doing shit and being awesome, and then having face adversity, and then maybe winning at the end or losing in a grand manner, and then it's over. And I have a cool story to tell. But if I would have to do this again, I think the sameness would very quickly catch up with me.
Oh yeah, definitely. You'd have to add in all the weird supplement books that they released. Like they have one that's just about let's add firearms to the game. Let's add magic to the game. Let's add more supernatural to the game. You add all that in, it might break it up enough, but nah.
Is that still all for Westeros? Westeros with guns?
Yeah, you can add guns to Westeros.
Can I do a drive-by with my horse?
Well, with your
Matchlock
firearm.
I guess a ride-by, yeah. With several rides with muskets. Just
you roll up in your carriage with your homies.
Yeah.
And then you lean out the window and cap a motherfucker with matchlock.
10 of you guys.
Awesome.
10 of you guys crammed into that one carriage. Everyone with a matchlock just stick out their guns and shoot, and they all miss because matchlocks aren't very accurate. Then you ride away.
Cloud of smoke that shoots out.
Cloud of smoke. Yeah.
I love it.
And then they peel out when they leave.
I love it. And then yeah.
Awesome.
I think with some tweaks I would use the land building thing just for games. I would probably want to reread their generic system and see if that's applicable instead, because I feel this would need to be. I don't need to put a lot of work in to make this generic. But at the same time, if they're generic,
probably going to. I mean, overall thoughts. I've said it before. There's nothing here that's going to draw me away from other games. Like it's not interesting enough to pull me. But I can definitely see myself taking elements from this, especially like you said, land building segments, to make that more, because I like the hamlet and the castle building and the land management stuff, and I think a lot of players would if they had a decent supplement for it.
Oh, haircut! I agree. That would be definitely one of my characters. Would be some super sleazy honor zero. I'm just in it to win it asshole guy. Then I would not stay in winters in the north too long and not die.
Just play fucking Rufus Sewell from A Knight's Tale.
Yeah, and then last bit. I would just take the combat, the mass combat rules from this because they are good.
Yep, they're pretty good.
Yeah, they are actually
I don't have the patience to go over them, and I'm sorry, but this is going on for 3 hours as it usually does. But they're just nice. It's literally just, you park your archers in the forest, they're gonna be way harder to kill. Because good luck getting your cavalry into that forest and so on. And it works. It works well. It's abstracted, of course. But why? But that's fine. It has to be.
It's better than making it a war game. That is my one big issue with the change from like Strongholds and Followers to Kingdoms and Warfare. Is they went, hey, we're not going to make this a fucking war game, right? Because we don't want to add in any more bulk to your game. Kingdoms and Warfare comes out. Hey, so we made a war game.
Yes, so true. The most true ever. Drake, you have run this or played, I think, both?
Yeah.
Question mark.
I've done both. Yeah, I've run it repeatedly. I've played in it repeatedly. I've played in it in a big forum situation too, where 50 plus people were playing this all at once, and it works at all scales. It really does. And the reason why it works at all scales is because it's simple enough.
I can see this working in a West Marches style, kind of like.
Oh yeah, just to put this out there. I see this working in a lab situation as well, kind of.
Yeah.
At least you need to abstract it a little bit, but you can run this LARPy quite easily.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. You could easily. You could just use the dice with hand signals or whatever they do for LARPs these days. I don't know.
It's been a while for me too.
Scissors.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is a system that works. Works right out of the box. It's also a system that you can bolt things onto very easily. So if you want to expand the holding system to, okay, well, I don't know, we have a hat manufacturer place. You can do that. You can say, okay, well, this is okay, generates this for me, etc. So and I have to have 20 wealth tied up in it.
So is it going to be our TLDR for this, same as Fallout, that it would be better as a generic system with the right amount of time put in?
I disagree on that take on Fallout, because the 2D20 system I think is great and can be tweaked to do most anything. But
yeah, but I think that 2D20 system is better without the Fallout bit. That's my point.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this as well.
I can see that, and that's where you bring out stuff like, hey, there's also there is like Conan and the John Carter shit, and it all basically plays the same with a different coat of paint.
Yeah.
I think it's totally fine.
I think that might be a through line for this group then. That books that lean
generic systems.
Yeah, books that books that lean too heavily on their setting. We dislike them more, because then you tie yourself to the setting too much.
You need to have an engaging system behind it.
Yeah, and that's the long and short of it. Exactly.
That's pretty much what it comes down to for me too. Like, you can tell whatever epic fantasy story you want to tell with Dungeons and Dragons. You don't need to tie it to anything. Yeah. But if they were selling it as Forgotten Realms, the tabletop game, I think we would all like it less.
Yeah, imagine if imagine if you couldn't play a fighter, but you had to be like I don't know, Baldur's Gate fighter, whatever.
You had to be a specific. To take this subclass, you actually have to be part of the Purple Dragon Knights of Corner.
Yeah,
good example.
Hey, guess what? Why do you think nobody plays Banneret or Dragon Knight? Because they fucking sold it as a specific Forgotten Realms thing.
Yeah, true.
It's awful. Nobody likes it.
Yeah.
Nobody likes
People only like the Sun Soul Monk, not because it's tied to something in Faerun, but because it's Dragon Ball.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And weirdly enough, Sun Soul Monk really sucks.
You want to know the thing? They never put out another specific supplement again. They only did the Coast one, and then they reprinted all of those.
Yeah, because say what you want about D&D, those people understand when they made a mistake. I think they're not above making a mistake, but they won't repeat it. So yeah,
or they'll fix it in post. They are one of the best we'll fix it in post companies. They try shit, and if it doesn't work, they fix it.
Yeah, and which is, by the way, the healthy thing to do. You can't just rest on your laurels forever and hope people are gonna stay happy. It's not gonna happen. You have to take the risks.
You can't fix problems before you see them.
Yeah,
it's not possible.
Yeah,
you don't know the load limit of the bridge until it breaks.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, hopefully you have a rough idea, but you don't know exactly.
Yeah. You get a ballpark.
Yeah.
Anyways, so what are we doing next time? Whose turn is it?
It is your turn, Emery. And so we're also doing this, people. So now we're doing
Fatal next then?
Fatal on Emery's channel, yes.
We're doing Fatal.
That's the only way I would do Fatal on Emery's channel. And I wouldn't read it. No, that's mean. No, never Fatal. Fuck Fatal.
Yeah, fuck Fatal. That's what they want you to do.
Yeah, but
that's what Big Fatal wants.
Yeah, but my dick isn't big enough to rip anyone's asshole apart, so they die.
Fucking Big Fatal. I'm really into the idea of like the Illuminati of like tabletop games. And it's just Big Fatal.
And again, if you haven't read Fatal and thought I was being hyperbolic, I wasn't.
No, you can
No.
literally do that.
You can literally do that.
You can literally.
They rule it.
Yeah, it's awful.
There's
Now,
system for it.
I'm gonna have kind of just a general question here because I do have a couple systems that I want to take a look at. And after our conversation about generic systems,
Okay.
I really think it would be a great idea to, as much as I've talked about it, I would love to take a look at the Fantasy Flight Star Wars game, at least one of the books.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All the books are basically the fucking same.
Oh yeah.
More than likely, on the day, I'm just going to pull up all three of them, and I'm just going to explain the differences between the characters. But other than that, they all advance the same.
Yeah. Oh,
And they all have the same dice mechanics.
I'm going to tell you a hot take about that right now.
What's up?
I will probably like that setting as a setting because it's wide and big and huge enough that you can still do anything in it.
Yeah.
The best thing is every single splat book. Do you know how they formulate their splat books in a really great idea? Here's a new tree of different XP abilities you can buy. Here's a new signature ability for your class, and here's a bunch of fucking equipment planets.
Yeah.
That's it.
Perfect.
That's all they do. And
That's
also,
perfect.
almost
That's
entirely
exactly how to do it.
untouched by the sequel trilogy shit. There is a single beginner box game for anything involving the sequel trilogy. Everything else is like pre-Clone Wars, and OT.
Nice.
That's all.
Yeah.
That's it.
You just know why, yeah.
Yeah.
Because regardless of your political stance and of anything, those movies were garbage.
They put Rebels in there before anything else. There's an entire core book for Rebels.
Yes.
Nice. Huh.
And also, it also includes Rogue One.
Cool. Yeah.
Rebels, Rogue One, and Solo actually get a lot of play in the FFG system.
Fair enough.
Which I think is perfectly fine because that's all the good shit. From
And
that era.
yeah, that's where I'm going to end on there. If the Fallout book had been, this is Fallout. You can play anywhere, even just in North America. And these places are kind of what we know about. One of them happens to be Boston. One of them is the West Coast, California, blah, 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 blah.
If it hadn't been so tied to...
But it was so tied to basically, you can be from this outskirt of Boston or from that.
Oh. Yeah.
That
was a
so
problem.
they needed to do more work on the front end to disseminate it from just the specific area. But
Yeah,
they did.
Yeah, I would love to take a look at that and kind of take a look at the beginner adventure because it's super fun. It's a cool little game.
Yes.
It's a fucking huge game actually. So
yeah, let's go.
Right, so
like it.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Let's do it. I'll get my giant fucking file of all the books on my drive.
Yes. So for reference, that is on the 6th of November. That would be according to my thing, and it would be on Emery's channel.
Indeed.
Yes. So, Emery, do you have anything planned for the next few days?
Honestly, no. I'm working the next 2 days. Actually, I'm going to get off of this right now, pour myself another cup of coffee, and start working again. I'm not streaming until Monday, and then Cosmo and I are going to be finishing up Resident Evil 1
nice.
this Monday, and
Very nice.
This
then
is very.
It's going to be business as usual.
This is very apropos because we're going to raid Azure, who is doing 24 hours of Resident Evil.
Yeah, that's crazy. Let's go.
He's at 4 now with Bruce, I think.
Oh, wow, nice.
And who knows how long he'll be up. I think for another hour at this point at least, because it's been 23 hours when we come there. And it's a charity stream for Extra Life, so if you can, maybe think about giving.
Arnold Palmer Children's Hospital, I think.
Yes, exactly. And me personally, tomorrow is not Grounded. Tomorrow is some sort of game. I have not decided. And beyond that, I don't know, because I learn about my shift shit on Monday normally, so I have to drop my schedule then.
I'm picking up my MacBook on Monday as well, so I will probably be dropping my schedule after that, because I'm gonna have to rebuild my entire schedule file from scratch.
Okay, cool. Drake, you are still waiting on your internet. Anything new? Anything to say?
Well, I'll find out in November, honestly.
Nice.
Hopefully I will be able to start by the end of November.
Yeah, I really hope it works out.
It
But
should work out fine.
As you can see, raid to Azure is on its way soon. Yeah. Have a good one, people.
Yeah, take care, everybody.
Yes. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Right done.
That's it.